agenda. This is a long one. Time extensions are at the discretion of committee chair. No action can be taken on items not listed except as possible referrals to committee staff or future PFIC agenda items. Let's start on Zoom. Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to have a citizen comment? Okay, and in the room?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll start with Jane, if you don't mind.
Well, that's Charlie's.
There's an extra chair right here.
Sorry.
No, this one isn't in your email.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, there's some difference. Yeah, this is on behalf of my husband Dave. He's been living on nitro since the smoke has come to town, so he's not doing well. So I'll just read through it. This relates to the new municipal building. So in 2010, the village board did a detailed facility study, which initially looked a lot like the initial proposal here for the village building. We also looked at ways to take costs out of the initial proposal. Here are some thoughts based on my familiarity with the previous work. I don't believe the needs have changed significantly since then, since we still have the same number of employees. The currently proposed office and police department facility is approximately 70 by 100 without the boardroom, would fit in the current office site, which would eliminate the need for the new access road, which was $800,000. I would go back to an open office concept for the staff other than administrator. That would reduce costs of interiors, HVAC, etc. The open office has been functioning fine. It would require staged construction, move office to temporary trailer or office space, possibly renting it from Maine, demo current building, construct new building and move in. After the police department has vacated the lighthouse, remodel all this space to open up the current meeting area to make it usable for both meetings and voting, add an ADA bathroom facility. You already have 2 ADA compliant exits with the police department doorway. But you would also improve the south. You could also improve the south exit as well. The current design for the DPW garage should be a non-starter. I don't know how anyone can justify the 16,000 square foot facility for 2 employees. That was a $5.5 million estimate. Remodel the existing garage office area for code compliance, add 2 tall bays for larger equipment servicing with compliant drainage, and declare victory. So these ideas should drive a lot of cost out of proposals while providing the functionality needed. And Dave is available to either talk to about the ideas further. So I thank you.
Thank you.
I did send 2 emails, and so I'll let those speak for themselves. One related to the roads, the other related to the long-awaited Ehlers report that we're going to be so happy to get. Thank you.
Keep in mind, if everybody could, that Ehlers document and everything we're doing is a working document. This village has never done anything, so we want the input. We also don't want you to think that everything's set in stone, but we have to start somewhere. We have to sort of grow up here as a village and attack some of these things. All right, next. Say your name.
My name's Alex Sukic. I'm a 60-year resident of the village. I live on Wind Point Road, and I also own a home on 4 Mile Road. My comments have to do with the golf project, which connected to the paving over the green space for a parking lot. I'm expressing concern for several villagers that I've talked to in the confusion leading up to where we are today. There is a city ownership of the village, of the shoe park. There is a village component. There is a Kaiser Group component. There's a private investor group component. And the last any of us have seen publicly before this document was a working group that the city had put together for 6 to 12 months of evaluating the project in whole. I have not seen if that project has been approved yet. Here we are today talking about proposing paving over more green space to support it with the parking lot. The concerns are several, but I've limited to 3 minutes, so I just jotted a few comments down. What problem are we trying to solve? Collectively, we have a park that has a 9-hole golf course that is controlled by the city. We are looking at a golf complex, which is now proposed to be 12 holes, that requires more green space for the village to give up for a parking lot due to its routing, starting here on hole 1. What if this project is approved, or if it gets approved, what considerations get given to keeping it a 9-hole golf course and using another part of the city's property for a parking lot? I didn't see alternate proposals. I've seen a shoehorn 12-hole layout, and by confession, I'm a golfer. I've been to the Kaiser's courses in Abandoned Dunes. I've had property and played all the courses up north. I've been to Lost Dunes, and so on. So I'm speaking as a golfer, but that's subordinate to being a village resident. What studies have been done? This will be successful if approved, as the pitch book says. It will become a regional golf outing. It will have a national reputation. That's what they do. The Kaisers are best in class, and I would argue that this is probably the most beautiful canvas of 50 acres left on Lake Michigan. So it could be the best in class at anything. And secondly, the park component. And I suspect everybody has reviewed the 1917 bequeath from Dr. Shoup that stipulates multiple things, but 2 conditions. If you don't, I have a copy. 2 conditions. One is forever in perpetuity, the name Shoup Park will be on that property. The pitch book says that it is now more of a branding name, Wind Point Dunes, because Dunes is a part of all of the Kaiser's projects, with the exception of the inlet up north at Sand Valley. Secondly, there is a in perpetuity condition of the grant for it to remain a park controlled or operated by the city. If we have blown through, the bequeath's conditions, then I think we open up a whole nother can of worms. And so it just becomes, again, back to my original point of the confusion. If you talk to somebody, this is a done deal. If you talk to somebody else, it is not. Now we're talking about being a linchpin, having to deal with solving a parking problem. Who has done the 8-minute tee time calculation on the incoming traffic? That is 32 groups an hour. That is 11 hours a day. That's 2,000 cars per week coming in and going out. I suspect there's discussion of a liquor license. Are we putting a bar in the middle of Wind Point? And so on. I think there's multiple things, and I've used up my time. And if anyone would like a copy of the 1917 bequeath, I have a copy or 2 that you could put into the public record.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you. And they're here, so maybe they'll touch on some.
Good.
Anybody else? Yes.
So to speak, Alex, of course, stole all my thunder. Doug Shaw saying
Okay.
on Club Road. First of all, I wanted to speak about the paving the parking lot in the park. I personally am opposed to that, but I understand that the golf course does need parking, and Wind Point may be in a good position to negotiate some sort of fee if you do decide to go with this parking lot, to rent or lease that to the course and have some generated revenue. Who's going to pay for the paving? Who's going to maintain the parking lot? Who has final approval on the design? I think it would be a travesty to put an ugly parking lot in the view of the historic lighthouse and the lighthouse grounds. That would diminish the beauty And I hope that there are a lot of things that will be taken into account if you go ahead and approve that. And especially to work out some kind of a lease agreement or a revenue sharing with the city if you're gonna let them use that as their golf course parking lot, because according to their plan, they have no other alternative. They have no other open area in that plan to put a parking lot. I would prefer to see the parking lot stay where it is and also have some provision to protect the historic limestone steps and the piers that were put in as part of a WPA project in the 30s. The city has historically not complied with anything that the village has asked them to do with Wind Point, and in previous administrators have not been able to even engage in a dialogue with their counterparts in the city. The steps are historic, the piers are historic, access to the beach and to the piers doesn't appear to be an issue, what an open factor with the new plan. Right now, you can park in the parking lot, you can go down what's left of the steps, fish or have recreation in the beaches and the piers, and it does not appear to be protected under the new plan. So I hope a lot of the ancillary issues surrounding the park plan will be addressed, and some effort will be made to protect the historic items that are adjacent to the property. Thanks.
Anybody else?
I'll go. I'm here as public, not as trustee.
Yep.
I want to just briefly touch on a few things. I got to tell you, a parking lot in the campus, pitchforks and torches. It will not be well met with the public. I'm part of that public at this moment, and it's not going to be well met by me. A dual style course. If I understand correctly, in the pictures that have been provided on a dual style, how many trees are we going to take out of the shoe park? My grandfather, a golf pro, 40 years after Founds took out 300 trees at Oakmont Country Club, he was still talking about it. So the tree thing is significant to me. I think it could be done very nicely at a 9-hole. And figure it out in a 9-hole basis. You know, keep the golf course on shoe property. Secondly, police study. I'm going to start my own group here called Keep Our Police, KOP. You got to like that. I think one of the things that we lose is the ability to actually interview and hire. Well, our current guy's okay. I think it would be difficult to improve upon what we have currently. Hunt Club Road, sell them their half for $1 in consideration. We'll get this off the table. This has reared its ugly head twice a decade for the last few decades. Who owns what over there? I'm glad that we sorted it out on plats, but let's give their half of the road back to them. Lastly, that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Has anybody popped online that would like to chat? Public comment? Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. It's always nice to hear things that we don't all think of ourselves, because we're a small group and you add to that. So thank you very much. All right. Up next, looking at the meeting minutes from our July 1 PFIC committee meeting. Anybody have any questions on those? On the committee? Then I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes July 1st. PFIC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We all. Okay, and one of the things we had some public comment on is review about to take action on the request of the Lighthouse parking extension. And you've got with us.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
for showing up today and bringing us what you have today.
Absolutely. And I will be addressing, I think, every question or issue that has been raised. Can I bring these over here? and
Sure can, wherever you'd like to.
Put them a little bit on the table. This is the extent of my marking capability. But yes, we are talking about a 12-hole golf. And this is an sorry, you're on.
No, you're good, you're good, you're good.
This is an incredible opportunity for us to have something in this village, city. And it is confusing as just who owns this. This will be one of the most unique courses in this region. And people will come for a long way to play this. That's good and that's bad. All right. So do we want progress, or do we want to keep the same thing that we've got today, which is a 9-hole golf course? The first I would say it's our idea is to call it Wind Point Dunes at Shoe Park. So you failed to go through the whole thing of Shoe Park. So Shoe Park is included. The city's aware that Shoe Park is, and that's acceptable to them.
Yeah,
So-
I haven't seen it. So,
It was on the, yeah.
Online and stuff.
Okay.
This I haven't seen.
Okay, so it does continue to have the Shoe Park name. Why 12 holes? Kaiser is, as Alex mentioned, is very involved in this. We've walked this course 5 times now. We've come up with this. In Scotland, when golf first started, it was 12 holes. And the Kaiser Group is a very unique, highly qualified architect, designer, and producer of golf courses. And the fact that they have an interest in this is kind of outstanding, that they would even be interested in doing this. They're not doing this to make money, and I will tell you, they're not even charging us. So they will actually not be a partner, but they believe that when the first time Michael Kaiser came over here to see this property, that it was a waste of the most incredible property that they had ever seen. And they wanted to do something unique. And that's how we kind of partnered up with them, Helen and I. So there are 2 things that we have to do. We need to get a new parking lot. Let me first of all say it will not be a paved parking area. It will not be concrete. It will not be asphalt. It will be the same kind of material that you have right now in your parking spots, where grass grows up between the permeated pavers that are down right now. So if you want to know what it will look like, you can just go right out there, and we parked in the spots that are exactly the way that we would do it. So, that gets away from the image of a big asphalt parking lot. I was here over the weekend. There was a wedding going on, and everybody was just parked on the grass. So this is something that can be used for anybody, whether they're here for a wedding, whether they're here to tour the lighthouse, whatever it is. It'll be open to the public. I think I went right to the issue of handling, the parking. That's what we need from the Wind Point Village Board, is that we need to get the parking off of right here is the parking right there, right in front of the most beautiful views of the lake is a ratty looking parking lot of broken asphalt and holes and everything. And that's not what we want our city, our village to be. My wife and I have lived in this village basically ever since, or for her entire life, for me for 40 years. And we drive by this course twice a day. And the city has very low interest in this. This is owned by the city, cleaned up by the city. When we had the horrendous winds and rain that came about 6 weeks ago, and all these trees were knocked down in the city, The city trees were cleaned up in about a week. It took a month for these trees to be taken off the fairway. And there were 40 of them that were down, and they weren't cleaned up for 4 weeks. There's no interest in this property with the city. It's the lowest interest that they have. This is one of the only areas that has not been treated with any shoreline stones and rocks. Everything in the city has been taken care of, that's city property. This is not. It's not on their list. They don't care that much about it. Their citizens aren't asking that they do it. So that is something that we will do, and that'll be well over $2 million. I would also say as a result that we would be doing it up to the city. We would also go on and complete the property, the shoreline restoration right here. We'll do that at our cost. It looked like about 100 feet. Thank you.
Sure.
It looked like about 100 feet of the shoreline has been fixed, but the southern 100 feet has not, and the northern 100 feet still needs some more. So that's something that we would do. In terms of what money would be paid or how would we pay rent. First of all, we would fix the shoreline, and that would be probably $100,000 just for this right here. We would charge. We're going to have special rates for all of the people who are from Wind Point Village and the city of Racine. They will be preferred rates, lower rates. If you're outside the city of Racine, then you're going to get a higher rate. And we'll give $1 for every person that comes in from outside the city of Racine or Wind Point Village will come to the village and will be used hopefully for the restoration of the lighthouse and for this property. But you can do that any way you want to. So one of the things that we have changed is, so here is the parking area. You asked kind of how did it fit last time when we spoke. This is 200 by 130. And it takes this much. There will still be a dog walk, albeit a smaller one. And I'll show another area where this actually is it. That you can then come through the parking lot. And again, this is not going to be asphalt. Come through the parking lot, go down here for dog walkers. And there are people interested in dog walks. So I'll be very honest with you. For the last couple months, on my way home, I always come down the street. I've seen one dog walking the dog walk. I've seen people walk it, but I've only seen one dog. So that's just a comment. But the dog walk can still be there. We will have a walking trail that will go all the way down here. And if you want to, we would do it on the west side of the road, have an additional trail that they could then walk and then come down this street right here. We won't clear the snow. We will clean all of that shoreline up. It's terrible right now. And people cannot walk. They can't go all the way down because there are trees blocking it and there are branches, and we will clean all of that up. In terms of the trees, this side over here will have a lot of trees. So it's not that unlike what they have up at Kohler, where part of the course is dune style. The other part is dunes, but also has trees. These trees, a lot of these trees in the middle here will stay. A lot of these trees will go. The whole purpose of this dune style is to create and take advantage of the beauty of Lake Michigan. And all the holes go from here and they come this way to catch the beauty of the lighthouse. So even as far back as over here where the parking lot is, you'll be able to see the lighthouse. And you know, that is such an iconic feature that again, I've walked this course a number of times now. You really don't see the lighthouse until you get around here and here. This is about the first time you can see it.
Where are you going to do the shoreline restoration? Where's that going to be done?
The shoreline restoration will start down here and will come all the way up.
Okay, how about the steps that have been eroded away?
Yeah, I don't know that much about the steps. I know down here, there is a driveway that comes down.
Yeah,
That we would clean that up and make it so trucks could come down because we're gonna bring the boulders. We'll do a staging area down here and then they'll come down this road. So
so that ramp is going to be reconstructed.
exactly, yeah. The stairway up, we will take a look at. I really wasn't that familiar with the stairway.
Dr. Deb Chassé.
Sorry?
Dr. Deb Chassé. It's
Yeah.
all about the story.
So Craig, the dollar you talk about from the outside residents, is that then what we would have to fix the parking with the lot after the first initial iteration of you installing it?
No, we would be responsible
You'd
for
be
that.
into perpetuity as far as
Absolutely.
there'd be an agreement?
Yeah.
We'd strike. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be our responsibility to keep it maintained and keep it up.
Yeah, okay, appreciate that
Mhm.
knowledge.
So can I ask a
Sure.
question when we're talking about trees? So this tree line right here,
Yes.
what's gonna happen to that?
The tree line that separates this property to the other property, there is one beautiful tree that falls right into a hole that is right here, that would stay. But particularly a lot of this trash, sorry for the, would come down. And so that people can see the lighthouse from the golf course. If they are big, iconic trees, they will stay. But most of the trees that are on the lakeside, they just need to be cleaned up,
Cleaned up.
cut down.
Does everybody understand? So I worked for Ben Christian and Associates as an 18-year-old boy. I'm 56, going on 57, so about 40 years ago. And they had to renew the contract. And I was there to hear it because they were all sitting around the bar while I was bartending and all that, right? And so the part of the deal was, and I think it's gone on ever since, I'm not privy to anything other than that part at the point in time, was they really just wanted Johnson Park. Okay, because Johnson Park's where they make all their money. They don't make any money at Shoots. They don't make any money at Park. Washington Park. Okay, so they make no money. So we drive by this and well, it's beautiful. Craig's not wrong. It's overgrown. Shoreline, where are we going to come up with that money? And the city's not going to do it. You can't play this course half the time because it's underwater. The city, whatever they did years ago, didn't fix the problem. So. I understand all the past stuff, but the city does not care about this parcel of land. So it's gonna sit here and it's gonna look the same. And the only decision we have to make is we give up that amount for parking. And Craig's not wrong. I drive by here and come down here all the time for village meetings. I don't see any dogs hardly walking around there. There's a 50 acre dog park in Florence, Alabama, where my dad is. Okay, this guy left it. He was a doctor. Left it. You hardly see dogs walk around there at all, and people are too busy on their phones, to get out and exercise and use the parks the way we have them. So, while I agree there might be some things to still work out, I don't have a problem with any of this.
Oh, the dog park on 38. I see lots of dogs there.
Yes, that one is very popular. That one's very popular. This one hasn't taken hold. So. The path, I assume it's going to be paved. Is it going to be similar to the path that cuts through the village and Wind Meadows and all that?
The path down here?
Yeah.
No, it'll be the sand.
The sand.
Sand. I mean, you just couldn't do a path. The water, on.
Gotcha.
When it'll wipe it away.
So it'll be cleaned up where people
It'll
can
be
walk
cleaned
it,
up.
but it won't be an official
Right.
path.
Right.
So is that going to be also?
Sorry.
Is that going to be also?
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. I mean, our intention is to make the lake what everybody's gonna look at. And we want it to be cleaned up and, maintained so that it always looks good.
So there's a part of it that's city owned, and then what's the other part? The other parts are gonna be part of this.
Okay, so everything is city owned with the exception of the line is right here. Okay, that is the line. Everything else is city. The last meeting we had a discussion of just where would the clubhouse go? The clubhouse would go right here. It's actually on the city property. I've got a picture of the clubhouse. You probably saw it. Be a beautiful clubhouse. A person asked about, we will sell beer for sure. Will we have liquor? Likely not. That's not what we're thinking about, but I guess I don't want to say yes or no. We would be open to that. It's not going to be it's not going to be a restaurant. It will serve burgers, beer, coffee. This is the only place that anybody in Wind Point or in the city could come out and sit at some place, have a cup of coffee in the morning and just look at the lake. And you could do that. So there would be a deck outside, and I'll show pictures of that. This will be a putting green. Kaiser is huge on putting greens. And although I am not, it's not part of my wheelhouse. I'm not that good a golfer that I putt very much, but this is for families. This is what this is for. It's not for people to do some putting before they tee up on the first hole. This is for families. It'd be open for families as this would as well. This would be open for anybody who wants to come down here and have a beer or a cup of coffee or just, see what's going on.
Would that be open year round when it's not, or have certain hours that it would be open? So if the public wanted to come, and have coffee and enjoy the view.
Yeah. So that's a really good question. We don't know that answer yet. We can have an agreement that will be closed at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, probably not 8, 9 or 10. When people are done, it's not, people shouldn't worry about, people coming down and this becoming a night place for people to drink and things like that. That's not what it's about.
It'll be also nice for people who come to visit the lighthouse too.
Yeah,
come down.
they'll patronize it.
For sure. For sure.
With that?
Yep.
No, I'm sorry.
I said, going as far as the property, I thought the last time we were talking about this, there was some private property that we were going to use also, other than the city or seeing in Wind Point, there was going to be some private property.
Well, as it turns out, and this is what kind of got us thinking about this the whole time. All of this property back here is, which backs up to Wingspread, is owned by my wife. And we are grabbing some of the property to make that a big par 5, and that's a new hole. So this is her lot line right here. So we'll be taking some of that property and adding it on there. But there's no plans at all. And let me tell you, we had to pull this from her. All right, she went over, walked the property to make sure you couldn't see it from Wingspread, and it's just right now just a bunch of dead trees. So she was okay with doing that, but there are no plans at all to ever, and we contractually obligated, we can't do anything down here, but we wouldn't do it. There's no plans to do anything right here either. This one is
Craig,
yes.
would the clubhouse be big enough to be used as sort of a rental for people who wanted to do a small reception in there? Would there be agreement with the city or us that people are able to use that?
It will not be that big.
That's fine.
Yeah, it'll be about 3,000 square feet.
Sure.
And it won't be that big.
Okay, no problem.
I mean, and so our plan is to have 5 10-year leases with the city for this property. And we would like to have the same thing so we're not gonna buy this property, it'll still be the village at one point. But we would develop 5 10-year leases that would match what we have with the city.
And so for some reason, the golf course still doesn't take off. It's not a hit. Everybody wants to throw up their hands.
Right.
We can pull the pavers out or leave them there, and the village is none the worse.
Exactly. So here's a picture that we are rendering of what we would put up for our clubhouse. It has the same color schemes as the lighthouse, and we think that's important. We would match it as closely as we can. And in fact, we will do that with anybody you'd like to have on your committee working with us to make sure that it's all, done appropriately and with taste. The key is that we'll have an outside deck, people with tables and can come out and take just sit, have a cup of coffee, have a beer, whatever. This is what the view of a spectacular Lake Michigan will look like. And we think it's unique, different. There's nothing like this right now in the community that
Show it to the people in Zoom too.
Oh, yeah. So, and then here's what it will look like, particularly on this side of the street. It is the style that, as Alex knows, it's what Kaiser's known for. The dunes is the original way golf was played, and they're very successful in building. They know how to build these courses, and it will be something that everybody in this room will be really proud of.
So that kind of golf course isn't probably cheap to maintain with those bunkers. You've obviously thought that through,
We have, and as I said, we've got the best working with us, and they're the ones who planned everything. They this will be in the neighborhood of $10 million, and we aren't going to make money at this course. This is something that we want to do. It's if we didn't think it would be a really valuable thing for our community, we wouldn't do this. So
it's not going to be machine fees or something you're doing for the community.
I'm not trying to be altruistic, but our plan is not to make money. I mean, we just want to break even.
Obviously, with 10-year, 50-year, 5-10-year leases, there has to be some kind of ongoing trust or corporation, I assume, that's set up already or being set up to sign these agreements.
There will. It's an LLC,
okay.
So we will be in a position legally to sign with the city and with you for the parking, and with the city for everything else. Our plan with the city is that we are going to, we're not going to pay them a rent, or we're not going to buy the property. We're just going to save them a lot of money, and that they can take a lot of the projects that need to be done off of their list. So that's how we plan to do this.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, several.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't ask.
Hang on. So here's what I would suggest. Okay, please put your questions together in an email. Send them to Travis, and Travis will send them on to Mr. Leopold. Okay. Out of just the fact that Karen, you didn't want to speak, I will suspend the rules for you to ask your one question and let us spoke. Everyone else spoke for just one question. If you still make it your best one.
Okay. When this park was redeveloped, there was a huge program that went on in the city where we all voted on what we liked, what we were interested in, and then decisions were made to redo this. And I know that the village paid a lot of money to, replant plant trees and put in paved. Would this group give the money to the village that we invested already in redoing that park before you turn it into a parking lot. In other words, we've already invested a lot of money in that park.
In the dog walk.
No, the parking area that you're proposing. That used to be not as nice looking, maybe like 5 or 10 years ago. They put in the walkway and planted all the trees. So we, as a village, have already invested into that area prior to.
Well,
So
we,
I want to make sure that we recoup the money that we already put into it.
Point made.
yeah, okay, I don't know, we haven't thought of that. I guess I didn't mention that we will landscape all the area around it with berms and dunes so that,
I'm talking about the park that you want for the parking lot specifically.
yeah, there's not, okay, yeah, I don't know what
And
was
is there a
made.
plan that we could see that the parking lot's gonna actually look like?
Is that,
It's gonna be part of the golf course, according to the plan that they've got now.
yeah, I don't know if you were, the parking lot that we're talking about will be exactly the same material that is there right now. For all for all the cars that are parking perpendicular, probably where you parked.
But you're gonna have to take out the trees and the little circular walking path.
I don't know, I didn't see any trees when I was down there. When I was, we're not doing the whole, it's just a piece.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right,
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry,
okay,
that's it.
sound good.
Okay.
Point made,
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you for the response.
Thank you.
Greg, thanks for coming out.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
So can I ask one other question?
Yes.
How far are you with the city?
Well,
Where are they
the
at?
city
Where-
asked us how far are we?
Yeah.
We are, we're far enough along that we believe that it's gonna happen with the city. They're interested in, I mean, particularly because of all the trees that came down, that just reminded them that they have responsibilities and they're liable if something happens. So they would like to keep this thing moving. So our first thing that we need to do is that we need to get approval to do the parking area over here. And that way we can plan exactly what the course will look like.
Are the leases drafted at all for the city? And then hence us?
We've exchanged paperwork. I don't know if I would say that it's firm enough yet for any of us to really look at, but I really don't believe that that's gonna be a problem.
I have a question.
Yes,
What exactly is the city doing other than waiting for us to give up part of our park for a parking lot?
what is the?
Yeah, I mean, the city stands to benefit completely from this. What are they putting into this in order to benefit?
They're giving up the property. That's what they're doing. That's it. They're giving up the property.
So they're
And the expenses associated.
they're giving up this liability that, again, as I told you, when I was 18, sitting around and having a talk, 40 years worth of losses. I mean, they used to send one person out back when I was that young, one person a week to come change the cups and do everything. I see a lot more people now than I ever did. I don't know if it's, I think what Truman has it now.
Yeah.
But again, the city's not.
Well, I'm just asking.
No, I got you. I
Don't
got you. It's
jump
just,
on me.
no.
Is there gonna be any zoning request changes at all?
I'm not aware of that.
You know?
It's
for-
something we've talked to the lawyers already and Jeff with.
The DNR, I'm sure is,
The lawyers
Yeah,
looking
DNR's
into-
involved.
you've already talked to DNR.
Absolutely.
Oh, you look at the project and what's their temperature on things?
They're just paperwork stuff. I mean, we have an expert who's very good and understands and did a lot of work, including maybe Alex's, all the stones that were put in up on the north side. He's doing this project for us.
So to everybody that worries about that parking lot maybe be gone or being part of the golf course and maybe, okay, this place might serve some beer or something like that. Are we that naive to think that people aren't pulling up cheap in their cars and happen to have an open intoxicant that, again, we don't have, 50 police officers canvassing the whole time. But there's stuff that goes on. I mean, let's not be naive. We might be better, we might be better off taking that off our police, from the standpoint of, sometimes I'm sure there's 20, 30, 40 cars, and who knows, that's not I can't believe that can be a comfortable situation at dusk when you have to kick out that many people. You don't know if those cars are together, those people are together.
They're different than the north side. the
What?
south side. Down here. there's
Yeah,
different things.
That's, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
you might, and that's the only thing, yeah, good point. But I mean, I'm not saying that parking lot doesn't have what people are worried about. Maybe if you serve a beer or something like that, and
Well, they serve beer now.
I know they do, so that doesn't change anything. So, yeah.
My other question regarding the parking lot is that the lighthouse uses that parking lot for events,
Yes.
like when they've done a car show, and how are we gonna work with the conflicts with that? Because of course they do it when the weather is good, and people golf when the weather is good.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna do it?
Well, that's a good question, and we've been thinking about how much space, how many slots do we need? And what happened over the weekend is that for overflow, they just parked all on the
Right,
grass.
well, they had a lighthouse tour on the
Okay.
first Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
And that's where they park.
Yeah.
And
So there would have been plenty of space for those cars. But for the extraordinary time, when there is a huge event here and it's a nice Saturday afternoon, they can still use the slots that we parked in this morning. And I guess we might want to look at, is there an overflow for parking on the grass, which is what they do now.
Travis, is there a uptick or a downtick in tower climbs in the last year or so?
It's been going down.
Why do you think?
I don't know. I mean, that's the budget showed
I
it
mean,
down.
my wife and I just got back from Europe a couple months ago. We went to Paris twice. I've been to Paris now twice. I don't need to go again. So is there or is there not some of what I just said with the lighthouse?
Ever since COVID, there's been a decrease.
Decrease, okay.
Any other questions for the board?
yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a legitimate question because, the money that they raise from the tower climbs and from the events helps support the lighthouse itself. So
Yeah.
that's a big conflict. It's really something that, we have to look at. I know it doesn't look like a lot of money, but it does add up. It's little bits here and there. And I'm all for golf course. I think it'd be a great thing for Wind Point and for the whole community, surrounding communities. But just these little details we need to get worked out.
Understood.
Yeah.
If we will be known, right now we're known for the lighthouse. With this new golf course, we will still be known for the lighthouse. But they will immediately quickly say, and it's also where Wind Point Dunes and Shoe Park is located. Okay.
Does everybody know the finances behind this lighthouse? Just the painting alone was, we assumed it would be 145,000. Luckily, what the homework staff did, it was 100, and then we had a village resident decided to pay for it. Otherwise, that'd be in our budget. That would take about 8% of our budget just to paint the tower every 8 years. We don't have income sources. They're drying up. We have $2,000 and change, about 2243 was it last year? The state allowed us to raise because we don't have any kind of ability to raise our levy. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Discussion?
I guess there's one other thing you brought up at the last meeting, about the view from the, you wanted some more landscaping.
Well, I think about what we use our lighthouse for, in addition to tower climbs. I mean, it's a beautiful property. People want to come here if they get married. And I don't know, they want to look at the lake. I mean, I'm not averse to the golf course by any stretch, But I don't know, you know, right now, based on where the clubhouse is, that's part of what they're gonna be looking at. And they're gonna take out all the,
That's all brush right there. I mean,
I realize that, but you can plant other things.
sure.
I just don't want to devalue what we have. I want to increase the opportunities, or increase the beauty of what we have here to get more people to come, because, you know, we need a paint job on the inside. There's other things that we can do. If we can make the lighthouse better to attract more people, it's gonna benefit the village. We're gonna get more people with a golf course, you know.
Yeah, they might stay and do a tower climb. They might realize it's here and do a tower climb.
You might,
You know, I mean, those are all,
I think
those
it
are
can
all.
have a good synergy.
So what we're giving up is part of that piece of land. They've moved the clubhouse onto the city's property. Let's not be under the disillusionment that we own any of this. We don't. We own just what they're specifically asking for. You know, we're an aging community. You know, I mean, how do we bring in younger people? How do we make this attractive instead we hang on to, you know, all this stuff, you know? So they're giving us reduced rates, you know. If he was taking the whole park, if you're taking the whole grass area, that'd probably be a non-starter for me, you know. But since we're taking part of it, it's going to be able to be multifunctional. You know, they're not turning a profit on the car show one. Well, it's a great idea, but we're not turning a profit on tower climbs.
On the tower climbs and stuff and the tour buses and whatnot, on the days that, you know, you have
Yeah.
a great day for
Yeah.
golfing.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
That could
that
definitely,
we,
yeah.
you know, we don't run into issues with not being able to park, because we don't run, you know, I mean, you can always, if we had an agreement with, you know, over at the bank, okay, you drop your tour bus people off and the bus goes parked at the bank, you know, I mean,
Or they could park
but we don't
over
have agreements.
along the side of the village, or they could, you know.
No.
I mean, we spend a lot of money, right? Do we not? How many pickleball players are born and bred Wind Point? Do you think? You have any idea? Do you think three quarters of them coming from outside Wind Point because they know
Most
people?
of them do,
They
yeah.
know. So we spend money on parks that help other people all the time, that produce no net economic benefit to this village. Zero.
Right. Well, I would-
This changes it on some level. And while they're great questions, us obsessing over a couple dollars isn't changing anything. You know, because that's all that probably brings in. Do we know their last car show? How much did that bring in?
Well,
last year?
it's not that, it's just utilization of the space.
I get it.
For any events,
I get it.
tours, whatever.
So to your point, maybe we see if Johnson Bank would let us.
Yeah,
To
I
your
mean,
point,
it's
park their
just
tour bus. Maybe
Getting
we,
a little bit more.
maybe we figure out that they park the long way in the parking over here. You know, unless there's pickleball, the parking lot isn't always filled up. You know, they could pull, you know, around behind, probably park behind DPW, I'm guessing, if it's for a couple hours.
Yeah, I mean,
things like that.
I don't know how many tour buses
So-
they get. That would be questions that we probably should talk to the lighthouse keepers. I don't know. But I'm just thinking in terms of when they do have events, I know they're trying to get more and more. And, you know, maybe they don't have enough, maybe 70 spots isn't enough. I don't know. You know, but where they're looking, and I don't know how many roads 70 spots is, but that tells me they're taking part of the path and that little plant thing in the middle.
Oh, you can always, if you're gonna have an event, you can always just restrict the parking for that day.
Well, that day you might have, you know, I don't know, you know, again, well, we do pay the lighthouse keepers some commission. That's part of their contract.
Right.
So, you know, if we get 200 golfers in here today, we get $200. And if some go, oh, that's only $200. Well, we might only be making $200 off the lighthouse keepers. And their thing. So, but we have $2 million in DNR stuff being done
Yeah.
for
Oh, no, I'm
free.
not disagreeing.
I'm sure the DNR is going to be jumping up and down. You know, I mean, it's half of a parking lot. That's what we're talking about. versus all this economic development. How many jobs are gonna be done on that? You know, again, we have no construction area, but maybe absolute, they're further along, maybe they build the building, and now we just help the Wind Point resident. So we can talk about this. Oh, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the request and move it forward to the village board, subject to acceptable legal agreements with Mr. Leopold's LLC.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, 3-0. Thanks. All right. What a fun one's keep coming. I thought that. All right, review a police study from Innovation Public Associates. Okay, now here's where I'm gonna button it down. No offense, nobody except for the committee will be asking any questions of this at all. Thank you. All right, Jay's here and your group. Yeah, are they on?
Yep.
Are they unmuted?
Yep.
All right, so innovative public advisors. I'll get some background. The state has grants available for studies on shared services. Okay, I think one of the biggest shared services is South Shore Police. I'm sorry, South Shore Fire Department. So the state, since they've got us capped, their bailout way, in my opinion, only is, hey, let's see if we can find some synergies with other municipalities. They had a grant out there. We applied for it. We got it. We enlisted innovative public advisors to help us with that. They have produced a report that they're going to now share with us today. It has been in the packet, so everybody, if you looked at it, has got a chance to see it. I'll turn the floor over to you folks, and I appreciate your time today.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
I can, perfect.
Great. My name is Jessica Wilds. We've met before. Thanks for having us. I'm a partner with Innovative Public Advisors, and my business partner, Jay Shambo, is also on the line as well. And then also Rob Kappelman. Rob, do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Rob Koppelman, and Jay and Jess interject me into any of their studies that involve police operations and the finance to go along with it. I have 30 years in policing, 25 in supervision of police services, and a little over 18 in police administration.
Great. Thanks, Rob. So unfortunately, we have 11 o'clock hard outs today. We were communicating with Travis. We can try to get through a little bit of the content or any questions that you might have, or maybe reschedule if that's better. We'll take it from there. Have you had an opportunity to all review the document?
Yeah, we did, and we've got your recommendation in there. Thank
Great.
you. So
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know we obviously had Mr. Leopold's group here and wanted to have them in person. If I'd known there was we would have massaged it with everybody. So I didn't know there was that kind of time cut off with you folks.
Yeah, we're sorry about that too, but happy to jump on another meeting, or if there's anything you wanted to discuss here, happy to do so.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll definitely let you know. Thanks for all your hard work on this, and yeah, we'll just take it from there. And if we need you, we'll definitely reach out. That's for sure. Sorry, that was the conflict.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So Innovative Public Advisors gave us an initial report that Travis and I and the chief went over. Obviously, every committee person has the opportunity to meet. Travis pulls people in from other committees, talks to them. He chose me, as head of PFIC take a look at this again. It was because we had a free grant. This did not cost the village anything. They interviewed chief and staff. They also, you know, reached out to Caledonia. They reached out to Racine County Sheriffs. Then we had a little bit of discussion that we asked them to address some things, which they did. And then in the packet is the final report. From the standpoint of things, it's not so easy as just a decision. Chief did write. Did you all get the email last night? Chief wrote us a reply to a few things from the standpoint of the department and his standpoint. This isn't, and this was never intended to be anything other than this village has to look at everything going forward. The times of our increasing bank accounts ended with the inflation we've all been dealing with in the last so many years. You know, you're paying 40, 70. I know a guy making $70 an hour pouring concrete. That's crazy. So now take a guess where costs are going. Okay. So now I know that's a little bit of a tangent, but you know, things aren't going down. And we're going to have a heavy squeeze. We have a wonderful police department. In the end, they did say, hey, you might want to take a look at taking a contract similar to what we have with Caledonia on the fire and EMS. Okay. I'm just going to leave this open to discussion and of us and what you took out of it. You know, obviously, you know, another thing in there is obviously we're seeing expenses increase. We're seeing tickets written decrease. You know, so again, you know, at some point in time as a village, we make the decision to stay where we're at. Probably going to have somewhere down the line and operating, you know, we take it to the public, you know, to ask them, hey, you know, we're having an operating referendum because we're gonna come up short at some point in time in the next 5 years. We're gonna flip the other way. Costs keep going up and all that. At the same time, even if we go to California, you know, even though that's locked in for 5 years, it's still a hard cost we've got, you know. And so there's trade-offs, you know. What did each of you take out of the report?
One thing I'm concerned about is that the chief brought up is the coverage.
Yeah.
You know, the decrease in coverage.
Yeah.
And we all know that there's been an increase in, you know, enforcement.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can afford to lose coverage. That's my biggest sticking point.
Chief, what hours are we not covered?
Just regularly, daily, between the hours of 3 a.m. till 6 p.m. So the contract for many years has always been 6 p.m. till 3 a.m. There's police coverage.
Okay.
Now you add that up, I believe that's 3,300 hours a year, but we're allotted 4,988 or 84 hours. So then those supplemental hours are then used at the discretion of either an event or on a weekend, adding additional hours or making sure that there's more coverage throughout the day.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Well, oh yeah, I mean,
And,
hey,
well, and not only that, but I felt that the contract that were offered didn't offer as many hours as and continuity
yeah,
in as far as I think it's important that your officers know your community. And I do not feel that we're going to get that from any other community that we contract with, whether it's the county or Caledonia or Racine. The community oriented policing and knowing your community, community knowing your officers, I think is really, really important.
Yeah.
And it gives confidence to your residents.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but I do have a question.
Go ahead. Yep, definitely. That's what we're talking about.
Because I'm looking at the numbers and for the, like for the judicial, What do you do with that?
We wouldn't have a
People
job.
like to-
We would probably remove that position. If it went, yeah, we would
Because,
remove that
I
position.
think she was elected for 4 years, so you're still gonna have that expense till she's.
Well, I'm sure the board could legally remove the position.
Right, you could legally remove the position, but she is an elected official and she's
Yeah, that
was
would-
elected
yeah.
for 4 years, so
Yeah.
she's still gonna get paid
Yeah.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
So I was just curious.
No, and I mean, and this wasn't done for any other reason that staff is doing a really good job. And we've asked them to, as a village board, to turn over everything they can. And when opportunities to review something are
And
there,
I agree, and I
it
appreciate.
may not be at this point in time. In 2030, we might have no choice.
Yeah.
And we might go, it was a fun run while it lasted. I agree with you. I don't think I have the appetite to kick the can over and move away from the great policing that we have. I mean, we do have gaps as well, you know. It is nice, and to what Chief pointed out, it is nice to know that, you know, they're in the village at those, let's say, nighttime hours, and unless they're helping out, they're not on the west side of Caledonia, where if we had something happen
Right.
here, they've got all their squads over there, and they can't make it back here. At the same time, if nobody's on the shift, we don't have anybody
Yeah.
either, but like they help other municipalities, they help us. And I've seen all different kinds of vehicles. So there is that tit for tat, and there's that professionalism that, you know, we would still have them at our disposal. They're not going to turn down, and neither is the sheriff. They're not going to turn down a call to come out here.
So
So,
the other, concern and why we did this is that we're concerned about the rising expenses and incomes like this, and the expenses are going up. At some point, you gotta make a decision.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
either cut costs.
You know your mission.
So, yeah.
I mean, you
So,
can't help it. It's just everything is going up.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You're right.
You know,
yeah.
if you're in a household, you get, you gotta get a second job. You know, where's the extra money gonna come from?
Yeah. And that's where we may be someday an operating referendum, the way we are hamstrung. I was talking to Travis the other day, and why do you need what? Mount Pleasant has what, a 14% growth rate or whatever, so they can
17.
17%, 17.4. So I got the 4 and 7 mixed up in my head. They can raise their levy, they can offset this stuff, but they're still dealing with personnel issues, you know. And we don't have those personnel issues right now. I mean, Tommy stabilized the team that he's got, and I think we've only lost one officer in the last year. We've gained just one officer, so, you know.
Yeah, well, and I don't know, when I was reading through this, some of the things that it doesn't take into consideration is that the relationships that we have with the community and the community, like
Yeah.
Johnson has been really supportive
Yeah.
of our police
Yep, and they've done
department.
a great job partnering with them
And
and getting grants and gifts.
if we went elsewhere,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have that.
true.
And to me, that would be a huge loss.
Yeah.
I just don't have an appetite for this in any shape or form because I think it would be more harmful to the village to bomb out our police than keep it.
Yeah, this isn't like fire where they come rolling for a fire and then we don't, I mean,
Well,
when's the last time we
we
had
don't
fire?
have a fire department. and we
Well,
don't have the ability to
exactly. Well, I
have-
know, right?
But we do have a very good, effective police
We do.
department.
We do.
And I just, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If,
Well, it's just the fact that we have the coverage, and that's the
that's,
sticking point.
that's the big one, is
Yeah,
we have the coverage and it's
So,
better than
I
what
can't-
we're being offered.
I can't support.
I absolutely agree with you. So,
All right, Travis, has this been something that got to the full board or just us?
Just you, if you want to throw it to the full board, we can invite them back to the full board. So that
Okay, so, I don't think we have the appetite, at the committee level, but I still want the full board to see this. And for them to look at it, to get maybe the temperature.
Get some more input.
I think it would be good to bring to the board for the temperature only, for the discussion only. The other 4 people are elected citizens of the citizens behind us, and we vote too. And I think a short little discussion at the next meeting to get their temperature would be good. But at this point in time, other than making a motion to bring the report and the discussion, that is the only motion I'll make. That there is no other action on this report.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. All right, 3-0 there. All right. Go ahead. Allison, did you have something to say?
No, this, I will just tell you that this whole innovation fund
Mhm.
is a nightmare
Mhm.
and they don't even know what they're doing with it, just so you know.
Yeah,
And
and
they keep changing and moving the goalposts, so.
and it pits people against people.
Well, no, it's,
Some
there's,
things, you know,
I'm not kidding,
Yeah.
we hear about it from
people you know.
certain people that I know, and it is, yeah, so.
Well, the Speaker of the Assembly wanted this in his budget for when he wanted to pair the Shared Revenue Act. So in order to get more shared revenue, he said municipalities need to get rid of all their services and condense them somehow to make sure that we can then continue to support a municipality. So that was his objective by putting that in that
Right.
bill. So he said, otherwise it's not moving to the floor to get shared revenue.
Okay.
Right,
Well, there
and
you go.
then
That's a big
they
deal,
didn't
shared
have
revenue.
any way to, they keep changing, they keep moving the goalposts on what you have to do to get. So that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, next up, and we got people with other Zoom meetings, because again, we didn't time this out with everybody, but review and possibly take action on RFPs for the village municipal building, and we have Kaylee from
Excel.
our consultant here.
Excel engineering. Yeah.
Excel Engineering, I'm sorry.
All right, hi everyone.
Kaylee, sorry for the delay, appreciate you getting in.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I was late to sign on anyway, so this worked out good. Yeah. Should I just start, Travis, and give a summary of where we're at?
Yeah, that sounds good. Works for me.
Yeah, so everyone I think has in their packet 4 RFP responses on for construction manager to assist with their construction manager services on the new Village Hall and Police Department building. So we reached out to the following construction managers: Absolute Construction, JH Hasinger, Riley Construction, and VJS. And so we had asked that they provide us their GC costs and their general conditions and construction manager fees as it would relate to the proposed project. So in the packets that everyone's received, there's history on the company, the resumes of the team that you would be working with, similar projects, budgets on similar projects, their safety data, a little bit about their construction firm on which services they self-perform, and any unions they are signatory to. And so with that summary and the spreadsheets and fee percentage we asked them to provide, I compiled a spreadsheet, and I don't know if I can share my screen or if Travis, you included that hard copy. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. So you can see at the bottom under total GC and fee, it's a gray box under each. And these are just to note the heading, what the order I presented them are in just a random order. But you can see that in that box number in the gray box toward the bottom of the sheet, the total general conditions and fee based on a 7-month project for JH Hasinger is about $470,000. Absolute Construction is saying the project would take 9 months at $466,000. Riley Construction is saying the project would, I guess, I estimated about 8.5 months. I couldn't really find a definitive duration. And so that's coming in at $622,000. And then VJS at about 9 months project duration So their total fees would be about 685,000. And so, but just based on this information, this is purely numerical information and data. We just take a look at this, we look at the booklets that they've provided, and our next step would be for them to come in and interview with those who would want to be part of that interview process. And so we want to get to know the team, the construction manager, the project executive doing the budget estimates. So they would be the person sitting through the design meetings with Excel engineering as we design the project. Just our goal in having a construction manager on board is to have them, like I said, at the design meetings and help with guidance so we can stick to a set budget. We look to them for feedback on building systems, what's a more economical way to go, anything that relates to the lead time of materials, what they've experienced in the past. So we find that working with a construction manager is a huge benefit to the project for remaining on time and budget. And just a lot of that, we start building that relationship and transparency with the constructor before the shovel's even in the ground. So this finding a construction manager, this process is really a great way, like I said, to develop a building project here. So with the interviews that I mentioned, it's really great to have them come in. You can talk to them. They will explain their response that they've submitted in a paper copy. And then we can ask them questions. So for example, we like to ask them about unions, what unions are a part of. That may or may not make a difference to anybody. The other items would be if they self-perform work. There are disadvantages and advantages to that. It's nice to hear from them what their take is on it and what their process is. And then we can ask them questions and potentially negotiate. For example, Absolute Construction here is saying 9 months construction time. We can always challenge them and say, okay, well, another firm is offering 7 months. Is there any way you can bring that down to even 8 months? Because if you see that for 8 months, that is about a 30,000 reduction on the cost of the project for the general conditions, the monthly general conditions that you're saving. So there's information that we like to get from them from that standpoint. But then we also ask that they bring the site superintendent on the project to the interviews, because they're the person that we're going to be working with day to day. Myself would be working with them during the construction, and then likely Travis or Scott or whoever's helping doing any other coordinating and logistics from the village of Wind Point. And so going back to the relationships, we just want to make sure that the team is solid, that there's some trust there, and the communication, we don't see any issues with communication from that standpoint. So my recommendation would to bring in at least two, if not three, of the construction managers that submitted a response for an interview. And they would be coming in person. We would block off about a 3 or 4 hour chunk of time. How the interviews work is I'd like to give them about 30 minutes to present and then 15 minutes for questions. And then they would leave the room and we would all sit together and debrief for about 15 minutes, and then let the other group come in. So, and then after that, we would have a discussion as a group and talk about your thoughts, what you like, what you didn't like. Is it solely based on the fees, or are there other factors? So, and then after that, we would make a selection then, and then start design meetings. So they would be invited to design meetings with Excel Engineering and myself as we further develop the project and the drawings.
I'd say three. I would say three, but the problem is two of them are so far away from the other two that we could repave a road for that difference, a smaller road. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I was a little shocked with that too. And just seeing it, I mean, it's in the general conditions that you can see and that's a great point. I will say Riley Construction did provide us with schematic design budgets for no cost as we were
I know
just
they did. Yeah.
wrapping up schematic design. So, I don't know, just to be respectful of that, if it would
Sure, that's,
make sense to just bring them in and we can challenge them and ask about that.
yeah.
Um,
No,
I
they did do us a favor, giving us an idea of what things were gonna cost and all that, so.
yeah.
So we haven't been together in a month, team. Where's everybody at? Obviously, we have a non-compliant building. We've also got an expensive new building working at us.
Well, and you remember the point that she made too, is that the point of bringing on a construction manager is to get that price down. Otherwise, we're never gonna get that price down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got you.
You say,
To get the construction manager on and to find ways to save money, we're never gonna find ways until we bring on someone that's gonna help us with this committee, bring down those costs.
So now Kaylee, I saw in some of the contracts, and again, I don't deal with this every day like you do. If we enlist some of these people to go further along, like Travis just described, to find cost savings, to find better ideas, better materials, whatever it might be. What, there looked like there were some costs that we would owe them, and at some point, we'd go further.
Yeah, so there would be, that's called the pre-construction fee. Some would waive it. I'd have to look through exactly, because I can't remember them all off the top of my head. And I don't know that I had, if Absolute indicated any, but I don't think J.H. Hasinger would.
I saw somebody $5,000. I thought I saw somebody $15,000.
Yeah, I think VJS had like 15, so the higher one had 15.
Okay.
But yes, sometimes they will make you pay. So let's say you get through the pre-construction, the project doesn't go ahead. Sometimes there's a $5,000 to $10,000 fee.
Yeah.
Or it's waived, like J.H. Hasinger, and I think Absolute also waived it.
Yeah.
And those are some things that we can ask during the interview too. Let's say there was something that you really liked a certain firm, but there was a number that you didn't like. Well, let's talk about that number with them and see if they're willing to budge.
You want to say something, Carmen?
has anybody had any experience with any of these?
Have you worked with all four of these, or one or two?
Yeah, actually, I have not worked with Absolute Construction, but I know they're very interested in your project with being right down the road. So they've been in communication with me, just asking questions and things. So I have a good feeling about them. I'll just say, even though I have not worked with them, I have worked with the other three, yes, and they're all good, very good companies. So they've all been invited to bid the project, and that's one thing too that we wouldn't want to invite anyone who we weren't comfortable with to bid the project. So I do have a feeling that the fees from Hasinger and Absolute are lower just because they're smaller firms.
Mm-hmm.
And this work is something that they're just really aggressive with their fee. So this is work that they would really want to do. I know Riley's a bigger firm, does a lot of precast buildings, and VJS is also a pretty large company. So I'm wondering.
I did like, I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no worries.
I did like that it was Absolute, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was, that put examples in their packet of how they saved money.
Yeah.
Where two of them did and two of them didn't. One was Absolute, and I'm trying to remember if the other one was Hasinger.
I think it was
VGS.
VGS.
Yeah. You're right, it was VGS. So that struck a chord with me, somebody that throws that into that presentation, tells me how they think as a company, and all that.
No, that's a great point, because that's the whole point of getting a construction manager on board is we're a team, it's the Village of Wind Point, it's Excel Engineering, and it's a construction manager. We're a team trying to get you the best value.
Sure. So from the standpoint of the village, we're really small, and there's, I would say, well, put it this way, I don't know if you were watching on Zoom, the room cleared out before this.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
which means 80% of the people that came to this meeting don't care about this.
Mhm.
But we have one really involved, really nice citizen who does a great job, who would tell you that we're on a fool's mission here. And so with these construction managers, with their expertise and yours, say to us, hey, let's tweak this, or maybe you can move this. We've already had staff do that with you, and we're still at a very big figure, which scares a couple people in the room over my shoulders. But at the same time, the rest of everybody just trusts that we're elected officials. We're going to build a good building, and that the building we have is not compliant in the least bit. Can't hold elections in the least bit. We used to have a sweet deal for our elections that went away years ago, and now we're back to our garage. And looking at the legacy going forward, this could have been built 15 years ago. They didn't. Some people wanted it, some people didn't, obviously more did. So are they going to say to us, hey, Wind Point, this is a great design, but sort of like an Absolute put in their bid, their packet, hey, we think you can do this here, here, and here. And I mean, I guess obviously that we would interview them, and I would ask that question.
Right.
And no offense to your firm either. You guys did a great job, and I appreciate everything you've done for us. So just throwing that out there.
No, I like that comment, and really it is. Our goal is to get the Village of Wind Point a building that is going to meet your needs and expectations. We always say this isn't a design for me or Excel Engineering; it's for you. So if we want to, it starts by just having those conversations on. How many offices do we need? How many workspaces? Where do we see ourselves? What are our needs in 5 or 10 years? That's always a big one. That's hard, but we definitely don't want to go through a building project that doesn't meet your needs now or in the next several years. In this case, so those are just conversations, and we'll work through it.
And we've got a lot of projects going on. I mean, Scott, Travis are being pulled every which way to Sunday. This village might have to look at an extra DPW person, at which point in time having sufficient space for staff, including Scott's position. I'm going to suspend the rules for just a second because I've let everybody in the room talk. We have a resident / trustee, Herb Begley, who has his hand raised. Herb, do you want to chat or have a question on this? No. Did you know your hand was up, Herb?
I think it was just the mouse.
Oh, it was a mouse.
Okay.
All right. Well, I will say that we're good on that. And so anyway, so today we're just looking at engaging a couple of these firms, Kaylee, narrowing it down.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would reach out to them and say, we want to pick a day to interview. Ideally, let's interview everybody on the same day.
Sure.
I would come down and assist with questions and help get things set up.
Okay.
So I would say my recommendation would be Hasinger, Absolute, and Riley. If you felt the time would be worth it to do all three. And
since Riley does a favor, I would agree. Otherwise, just looking at the numbers, I would say no otherwise. But we can let them know, hey, you're 50% higher than the other two companies, so, and it could be just sort of like we found out with our culvert, we didn't have anybody that really wanted the job, and the one person that bid it said, sure, but we're going to charge you double what your engineer told us. And we didn't do that. We're not really good with scares here in the village. We're working on our blood pressure medicine every day.
No. So we should pick a date though then, and I can reach out to those. Was it decided yet, 2 or 3, or should I wait for Travis to get back to me?
We just sort of have to have a consensus here amongst the committee. It's not just my committee, and even though I'm running the meeting.
Oh, okay.
You okay with
I'm okay with
the 3, or do you want just the 2, or?
Uh,
I mean, Riley did us a favor, but,
Like I said, bring 3 in.
okay. Alan, I
I'm,
mean, really,
I'm fine to do 3
It's
or
really no skin
4.
off our
Does it
nose.
matter?
Really just
Yeah.
challenge, not only not, interview or not.
well, yeah, yeah, I mean, point it out, you know, just say, hey, you know, and sometimes they might sharpen the pencil, maybe they got enough business, who knows? Or they'll tell you, hey, you know, just like I did, if somebody, I did mortgages, you know, somebody said, hey, they're 1/4% lower, I'm like, no way. I knew my market, you could be an eighth off in mortgages quarter, you made no money. So they might go, these guys aren't making a lot of money, they're just doing you a favor, okay, we found that out. All right, I think we have consensus to bring in 3. What date are you looking at? I would expect that there be at least, if not all the committee, and at that point in time, my understandings about closed meetings is that this is part of negotiating on the village's behalf, and it would be a closed meeting. Am I right or am I wrong, Travis?
Kaylee, have you done closed sessions on meetings for these?
Because we're so small, it's not like we've got the city of Racine where they've got, let's say, 20
Yeah,
aldermen.
with
And you
Key
can
Western,
get
we
in.
did closed.
Okay.
We would have no choice but to either have it open or closed. And no offense, we already gonna have enough people in the room. People probably don't want me there, but you know, it's another story.
Then we
So,
could do it closed. Yeah.
all right, so what day are you looking at?
So for me, are we looking at like next week sometime, as early as next week, or? And what time of day?
I'm around next week other than Wednesday. We have the village meeting on Thursday. Thursday would be probably the best. We're already gonna, but I don't know what Allison's got.
Well,
Oh, so I am not available Thursday or Friday of next week. It would have to be probably Tuesday morning or potentially Monday morning or Wednesday. I'm mostly free on Wednesday.
I've got Tuesday morning and I've got Tuesday all day and Monday all the way up till 3 o'clock. Probably something.
Yeah, actually, I have Tuesday all day. I could make something work all day.
You're gonna be on travel.
Yeah.
Do you trust us, if it's Carmen and I, to ask the tough questions and Travis and Caleb? Or do you want it another week, another day?
you know what? I trust you.
Are you able to?
I mean,
do
but
next Tuesday?
here's the question. Do you, I mean, if you want my opinion, you just have to do it on a different day.
What's the best day that you have coming up? If it's the following week, let's say.
The following week, I'm here the whole week.
Okay, so Kaylee, everybody's here the week of the 18th.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, I have a good amount of availability if you just want to start naming days.
I can do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I have a surgery on Monday that I'm gonna be staying overnight. So I'm done. I'm not here Monday, Tuesday. It's gonna be 20th.
Let's look at Wednesday or Thursday, or Friday morning, I would say.
21st or 22nd, Allison?
Either one.
The 21st or 22nd are wide open on my calendar. And it sounds like Carmen's here and it sounds like Allison's here.
We can do 21st at 11 and we can get lunch too.
21st at 11?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, so it'll be like 11 until 2 or 3 by the time we talk internally.
Yeah. So August 21st, 11 a.m. here.
And we'll do it at the lighthouse, Kaylee, at the village office, just because there's more space.
Yeah, more space here.
Okay, and then what I'm gonna do for the order, I'm just gonna randomly draw them and I will reach out to them to indicate their times and I'll just copy you, Travis, okay?
Okay, that works.
All right, so is there a motion to be made?
Just to pick the 3, we can then.
All right, I'll make a motion that we sit down with J.H. Hassinger, Absolute Construction and Riley Construction for interviews on a potential village building. Municipal building. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Colonel? All right, all in favor. 300, all right. All right, you and possibly take action on year-to-date numbers and go over budget for 2026 numbers so far. Travis.
Thank you.
Oh,
Peter.
thanks, Kelly, didn't
Thanks.
mean to cut you off. I apologize. I should have.
That's right. Thanks.
Thanks for showing up. Have a good rest of your day. I apologize.
You too.
Yeah. Budget, okay, so you got them up. All right.
Um,
Go ahead.
the budget conversations are in your packet as well. We've talked about that internally a while ago, so just to let you know, 2024 numbers are in there. After we now have Workhorse kind of up and running to its full capability. In their August packet, you'll be able to see kind of like a in-depth view of like now 25 year-to-date numbers with proposed next to each other. And so that'll be, or with the adopted 25 numbers. So you'll have a better view of when looking at those reports with the board packet. Any questions when you were going over the 24 actual numbers that you saw, anything that came out or wanted to follow up on?
No. 24 is in the rearview mirrors. Where we had 25. I mean, you and I chatted the other day. I think.
So 24 numbers are new just because the audit done now, so they just did adjusting. So I didn't know if there's any questions or you had any questions with the adjusting journal entries that came up, but.
Well, hey, we had $59,256 more in interest income. Okay, for a spot chart. No, it's done. What's it? Oh, I just happened to flip. I'm on page 5 and 21 in the budget.
Okay.
That's all. I just.
I'm just.
No, I didn't have anything 24, 25, you know.
The surplus from the audit was what I think around $157,000 that we have in now the savings account. So not a big number, but and there is no depreciation expense. I have let the chair know that as well. We don't have any depreciation expenses that go into our savings account for future projects because we just don't have money. We're out of money. So,
well, they always just took money from the big money market account and dropped in money. You know, they're, like I said, the reason why we even.
If you look at like your capital projects starting on page 12.
Yeah.
That number you see right there, that 318,887, that's how much you should be saving for future costs for equipment for the facilities. In order to page 12 out of 21.
Yeah.
That's the total cost per year it takes to get into, obviously it's inflated because of that building, but that's how much it would cost in order to replenish what you take out to pay these expenses year after year.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. Other communities have depreciation accounts where they're always saving nonstop to be able to pay for these projects. And then you see the lighthouse, it costs about $49,036 every year to keep up the maintaining of the building for that. Your capital for equipment, I don't think we added that up. Nor did we do the roads, but that was just to give you an idea of what's coming down the pipeline. So as times get tough with budgets all over municipalities, depreciation expenses are going to be harder. Replenishing that savings account is going to be important, but obviously it's hard just because we're landlocked. Our net new projected number for 26's budget is going to be 0.04. That's our net new growth. We were just 1% up from North Bay. They had 0.03, so they almost just stuck.
They built something?
I don't know, but they had net new construction, probably of home remodels, that stuff. So they were almost tied with us, which is kind of a shocker. So
yeah, because we've like I said, a couple new houses go up on.
Well, that was this year.
Yeah.
So that won't hit till next year. So
Yeah,
you'll probably see an increase then. But yeah, that's for 26. So you'll see a 0.04 allowable levy increase for our budget for next year's. So that will come out in September, the levy limit worksheet. And obviously more numbers will come in your revenue section for 26 as we get closer to September and October once we get more information from the state. And those allowable increases from intergovernmental revenues, which is another bulk of our finances. So the most is from intergovernmental and taxes. We don't get much from anything else. One thing to point out, obviously, we've had that storm that hit us. So you'll see the inflated year-to-date numbers for forestry. But we are working on that with the state.
They're on page 11, Allison, highlighted at the top. Forestry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, yeah, so those are up. Obviously, we're working with the state on getting a reimbursement. I did look when Monica and I were at the clerk's training. There is on a levy limit worksheet. I think you do take a hit in your levy because you're taking actual funds as well. But there is something you do have to report with the state that you're getting acceptance of Wisconsin emergency management funding from the state of Wisconsin on your levy limit worksheet. I don't know what type of reduction or what type of fee they'll impose, but they do have to report it on the levy limit worksheet, which I just learned, which is interesting. So, yeah, there's all these fun little things that you got to report, but yeah, so that was kind of interesting. I did see that tidbit when we were doing a training, so we do have to report that number to the state. I don't know what they do with it, but obviously I'll look into that once the levy limit formulas come out and all that. That doesn't come out until September, end of September usually. So,
Hey, can I ask a question?
mm-hmm.
On page 11, on the capital improvement projects, general government facilities, year-to-date, 8/1, 96,538.
The contracts we approved with Excel Engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Those would be those increases.
All right. Just checking.
Yep. The road ones, obviously that's still coming in, but those would be covered by your ARPA funds that we invested in. So those will be coming out of that kind of fund. So it should balance itself out there. As long as things keep going as planned. Otherwise, if you go backwards, it costs more.
We don't have it budgeted. Is it budgeted somewhere else?
For ARPA?
No, that $96,000.
We talked to them and the auditors, and they said we could throw it under general government facilities because it's for facility improvements.
Right, but when for the budget,
We budgeted for.
but is it budgeted somewhere else? So it's going to show way under budget. Where is this?
It's not budgeted in the 25 budget because we came to the board with it like January. Yeah, so we came.
Okay.
So it was too late to include in the budget.
Okay.
So it'll just be like when they did the audit presentation, you'll just be up over that amount. Like they said, like most communities go over their budgets most of the time. So, but obviously that's why we brought it to the board because it wasn't in the budget. So, Plan Commission has been meeting a lot, so we are increasing their budget for next year. So they're just more active now that we have a really good zoning administrator that takes good care of things. So there are accounts that have been merged. I'll let you know that too. So we had cleaned up some of the accounts to be with the state's allocated funds account that is required. So Monica and Tammy from Workhorse worked on that. And so we combined some accounts. So your state shared revenue, there was an extra state shared revenue line for the new edition. So they're lumped together now for the 83,417.
The original plus
where there's yeah. So those are together because they're not separate really. Personal property tax aid, that's in there still. We added state grants other, you'll see the $26,000 that's in there. Conditional use permits was combined with zoning permits. We didn't need to separate those out. I don't think anything else changed on the fact for revenue. You'll do see that for 24 actual, there'll be some work redone on how we allocate HR kind of like pay. They combined now with Workforce, everything gets combined into your salary amount. So that's why they're up. So if you look at board wages, that's because Social Security, Medicare are all combined in there. So we were taking out the individual portions of each budget and looking at those individually. No one does that in the state. They want it all together, and the auditors don't want them separated. They want to see it by like category of like what you're doing. So like if police is with police, parks is with parks, snow is with snow, they don't want to see the individual because it's more work for the state to report it to the state. So we're going to work on that, fixing that up to make sure that they're in line. It's going to take a little bit of time to fix the Excel spreadsheets because they all go to one lump sum right now. So that's why you see them up, because they combined everything during the 24 audit for that. Election salaries were up last year just because we had 2 special elections. So we had to purchase more stuff, and we had to purchase stuff to do other stuff to fix some of the things that we did. So we had to do that. And supplies, obviously, through the county, we had to pay for all that. So.
Any other questions? It'll be nice to finally work towards integrating CB year-to-date stuff.
Yeah, it is nice. It's a nice report. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely a nice tool to have. Audit numbers I got for next year already, just because they priced those out in their proposal for the next 4 years with us.
Oh, okay.
Their cost. And so I got that. I won't know workers' comp, cyber, and property and all that until that's page 7 out of 21. I won't know that until we get down closer, probably to September. I'll reach out to I forget her name. Our insurance R&R with I forget, but she'll come in and talk to Nancy. Yeah. Okay. The chief and I worked on 26 numbers just because of the study. We had to give them some ideas. So you'll see 26 proposed numbers already in there. Obviously, if we see things that need to be tweaked, we'll see them throughout. We go through the budget process if something goes up year to date. But if the committee also sees something that you don't like or you want changed or upped, whatever, we can work on that. I did ask the chief to kind of narrow in on training wages, which are allocated from the state for those grants. So right now, though, I don't think that side of the spreadsheet has been fixed in a while. So there's an old number that's probably in there that's generating that money, but it's reimbursed through the state. So it's not like we're down money. So it's just up because they're giving out more grants. So
yeah, and just for clarification, the certification of a law enforcement officer in the state of Wisconsin it ends on June 30th. So it gives the state time from June 30th on to September, October timeframe to recertify at their September meeting that all the officers and all the agencies. After that certification, that meeting for the DOJ or the Law Enforcement Standards Board, that's when the issuance of the reimbursement for each individual officer for training for their required hours for the state, required 24 hours.
Okay.
I just wanted to jump back real quick before we continue on revenue. Building permits are doing really good this year. 4 out of 21. And so are zoning permits. Just with us, I think putting in more information and for it easier to come on the website. I think it's just easier for people to get done. And Monica and Hannah are still looking in on the credit card stuff. So that should help too. But just having, I think, Jeff have a thorough detail and updating our zoning ordinance, that really helped as well. And obviously there's still payouts that we pay out for those fees, but at least it helps us a little bit. I mean, it's a small 0.02% probably of the entire budget, but it's nice to see that people are using it. So it's and I think Al kind of woke up when he got his letter, so I think he's been doing a little better as well. So any questions on the police and general government side of things? Otherwise, we'll move to DPW.
No.
DPW did great for their year-to-date numbers, and 24 actual, they came in pretty well with saving with snow and all that stuff, and salt and mild winters.
Mother Nature helped with that.
Scott and I will work through the budget.
You still just didn't blindly buy salt like previous people.
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much for saving us that kind of money.
Scott and I will work through the budget when he's got some more downtime. Obviously, we're just picking as we go through the budget process. We're still early on. Lighthouse expenses, I don't have any issue with. I didn't see anything big other than obviously We Energies has raised rates. So there are a couple. I mean, obviously we'll continue to monitor that, but I know the electric side of the Lighthouse has gone up. So we have upped that in the budget for the coming year. And we'll be monitoring our facilities as well just to make sure we're still there, but I don't think we'll hit our allocated side on DPW side of things, but just wanted to point that out. Obviously, everyone's electric bills are going up with the rates increasing. So the Racine County intergovernmental agreement came in. We are down $658 if you see that there, which was kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's surprising. It's gone down the last 2 years.
yeah, so kind of grateful that
Well, they're
went
suing everybody still. Is that, where is that? Have you heard anything about that?
They had a meeting like 2 months ago, and the attorney we're representing obviously knows like keep it minimum. We haven't seen any bills from him, but they're just kind of saying, tell us when we need to be there because we're not the big dogs in the group. We're just here to ride along and do what kind of Mount Pleasant followed them and kind of the other communities and see what's going on. So I don't know, they're still battling out, I think, and I don't think anyone knows what's going on. They barely meet. So
Okay, all right.
but I don't hear anything. I like it because I don't know. I don't get any bills in the mail. We already got enough bills from our lawyer. So, but no,
Like seeing that.
yeah. So maybe that'll just dissolve out of its own group. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Nothing big on page 11 out of 21 under conservation and development or capital projects. Obviously, things will fluctuate as we move through the budget process because we're still in the planning zone of capital projects as we still get numbers and get things going. So things are moving and obviously numbers change all the time as the economy and everything else changes throughout the summer. So we're continuing to watch and update numbers as we get things, but it's a working document like we've said. So
yeah.
I don't think that there's any questions on that page. It's pretty straightforward as we continue to move forward, but any questions on capital improvements starting on page 12? We did move voting booths into election expenses just because it was under $5,000. It doesn't really need to be in the CIP.
Yeah.
So we moved that out.
You have roof on the administrative office though.
Yeah.
It says 16,000, I'm sorry, 18,668 for roof for the administrative office.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do the roof and then knock the building down.
Well, that's part of my playing both budgets here. I don't have any direction right now. So
that's fine.
Yeah. I gotta get answers before I, so I'm putting two budgets together basically. So yeah.
That would probably include the backdoor situation on there too.
Yep, those would go
backdoor too.
So obviously, and it's just there if you decide at any moment, we can't do that, but then we got to do this. So it's just the transparency to let you know that there are things failing. So yeah.
So it's accounted for if we don't.
Strategic plan. I know Rob has asked questions about that and what kind of that uses. I'd be more curious as we update our comprehensive plan to see how that works because we are not growing community anymore. We're landlocked. So a comprehensive plan, as Jeff stated before, we can really narrow in on transportation, utilities, water, and just like things that the village is facing really hard right now, and can try to update that to make the plan better for our comp plan. Instead of going with the Southeast Regional Plan Commission, and we can focus in on our own needs and focus in on that. So the comp plan, obviously, once he's done with the outdoor recreation plan, he'll get onto that. So I don't know if you want to do a strategic plan, but I think our comp plan will be really, I think, better, and our outdoor recreation plan. I think that really shows maybe in the next 10 years you do a strategic plan when the village changes, a little more. But at this time, I think your outdoor recreation plan and your comprehensive plan are going to show a lot more value.
Can I ask a question on page 14?
Or is there any questions before?
Let's close the loop on the strategic plan real quick, then go to you next on 14. So Travis knows I sort of didn't have the appetite for the $22,000. Anyway, I saw example 1 or 2, and it's sort of like, it's gonna sound bad, but I could add AI. I put together all the fluff pages, which are the first 5 or so, and then staff gives them all the other numbers, and then they go, here's where you are, and we've already got a working CIP. And to Travis's point with Jeff's strengths and what he brings with the plans, I don't think we can pay an outside place right now $22,000. So that's sort of the discussion on that.
There was one point I did make is
Go ahead.
that GFOA, the Government Finance Office Association that we get the award for, they are looking at the person that I've been engaged with. They've been talking with them as well, GFOA. They are looking to get the budget award a requirement to have a strategic plan adopted and in place with a municipality to get the award. So I know the award has been given a lot to the village and takes a lot of passion from you guys that we're going to get that. And it's a strength to show to the residents that we have a transparent and great budget that's reviewed by excellent people on a panel. So that's just something to consider. I don't know when they're going to put that in as a requirement, but it could be down the line.
Let us know when they do.
So
I'm not sure it's something to throw a strategic plan, put it together. In fact, you give them all the information. Hey, jumping ahead, maybe let our intern do the strategic plan.
Oh, yeah.
Give her an example of one.
Yeah.
I don't joke, I'm sort of serious about that. It may not be a bad thing. All right, but do we, to your point of the award, do we have to pay an actual company that is like sort of accredited? Or could we build one in-house, show it to them and they go, oh, that's good enough? To my point of the intern.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, I guess we'll cross that.
It depends on the rules that they have in place
I
for
got you.
that section of the award. So
Well, the reason why I have a little bit of distaste for it is, I've won a couple of awards in my career and they turned into places that came in and they were marketing awards. And at first they were like, oh yeah, you can use this on your thing. And I did, my little scroll at the bottom, I was a 5-star. And then by the time you got to the end, if you didn't buy a couple $1,000s worth of their advertising, you didn't get it. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for this award.
Right, well,
This
that's
is
a lot of the
morphed
awards are.
into something I knew it was going there, and it
Yeah.
finally did. So that's sort of how
it's
this
nice
strikes
to
me.
have the GFOA award, especially when you're going to start going out to bond and
Yeah,
doing other
good
things,
point, good
and
point
residents look at it that
Good point there too. Yeah.
other communities don't do as much effort as we do in putting a really comprehensive plan together for our residents. So not every community gets this. If you look at other communities around us, they do not have as much detail in our budgets as we do. So to get the GFOA award, it's kind of a bragging right to your residents as a board to say, hey, when we want things or things go in our budget, we say we've done all the due diligence that the GFOA has outlined, which is the highest level you can go to, and say, hey, we've gotten this award, you should trust us as elected officials to make the decisions within our budget guidelines. So that's also, I've heard that from a lot of communities at conferences. This is something that GFOA people take pride in as communities and boards. So just want to let you know.
Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, Allison, you had a question, unfortunately.
Yeah, on public works, I'm just looking at the truck. 2017 original cost 101,000. Replace year 2027 replacement cost 136. But plans in 2026 275,000. There's some big differences.
Yeah, it's for what,
bucks better.
it's for what will benefit the village in a whole for efficiency. So instead of having the one truck that sits in the garage that doesn't do anything for $101,000, we would get a truck that would be able to benefit to have multiple attachments and be able to be used a lot more for what we need it for, instead of having multiple trucks that do the same thing. So it's just an option.
Okay,
for
well,
that.
I vaguely remember us talking about this, but I'm just,
So,
jumping out.
Yeah. So for that situation, like it would be an
That's not the
attachment,
truck
like
we just bought.
no, it'd be like an attachment for like a roll off. So if you ever see like a dumpster being rolled off, in essence, it rolls off the attachment. So you could have a brine tank, a salter, a dump body, chipper box, patching machine. You can have anything on there to roll it on to that same truck. Since our building only has the ability to have one truck, we don't need multiple trucks to have every single one of those attachments or spend a lot of time to put those attachments on, because you can switch them out in like 2 minutes.
Okay, so is that $275,000 include those attachments?
Over time, it could, yeah. It would incorporate the salter, the brine, the truck box, and the chipper box. Yes,
So
it would all be on the same truck.
okay, but I mean, like for that money, it comes with some of these attachments.
Well, back 3 years ago when I got the quote, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure it probably changed by now, and it will change this was a placeholder 2 years ago. I
Okay,
mean,
I'm
chances
just
are
asking
we're,
a question.
no, I mean, honestly, we wouldn't even be able to get this because it wouldn't even fit in our building. So it's kind of a moot point.
Until we get a new building, this doesn't work.
Yeah, right. We'd have to be stored outside if we did decide to do that. But you know, to the point, like if we at the end of the year when we were doing branching in November and we got the November snow, we weren't able to go salt the roads and do what we needed to do because we had a chipper box on the back. So this it's just an efficiency thing, but we don't have the ability to have that truck in our garage now because it's just too big. Our garage is not fitted.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be able to get it anyways.
Okay.
So we could take it out.
It just would-
So
It is.
So this translates, if you bring that up, the building. That DPW bill is probably sadly way down the road for right now, because we haven't even had our
Yeah.
things, and I'm sure more of the public's gonna show up and there's gonna be pushback and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
We were building on 2 bays for the police cars. Would it be, no offense, would it be best to have our best car in one of them and let's say that vehicle in the other? You know, meaning build it so that you get your best vehicle at least in there. So if you gotta throw the rest of the stuff out, yeah, it's not ideal, but you know, we're not gonna have that other building up anytime soon. See what I'm getting at? So if
Yeah.
we invested in that, with the municipal building.
I guess, I mean, it would all depend because the garage for a squad is just your standard garage door. And for a vehicle like that, it would have to be a lot bigger and maybe it would mess with the design and the structure above it. And you know, who knows? I don't know.
I know, but
I don't know what the increase.
Yeah. But if it ends up being a all-in-one type of vehicle.
I think it just would benefit the village more to have something like that because of the space restriction that we do have. So,
and then we could sell a couple of those vehicles. Not like we could get a lot of money for them, but you could sell 2 of your vehicles.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So are you comfortable with removing the, back to page 12, the 3-year strategic plan? Would you like that, or how
Yeah.
would you like to?
I move back to strategic plan.
Just a hand vote. I don't need anything motion, but if just to
Move it
look
back a year.
or move it, we can just take it off for now
Let's take it off for now.
until there's a need and want for it.
So he's wants to raise it. We want to raise it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else removed that you see up to page 14? Do you want to move your Ford 750 back?
Yeah.
Let's move it back a year.
Well, it wouldn't be a 750, but yeah, you can just eliminate it.
What I would do though is if you've got examples of it, you know, or you want to spit it out,
Examples of-
like pictures of them, and
Yeah, I got
you know,
pictures of it.
feel free to send them to us.
Yeah, I got pictures of it.
And if somebody can give you an updated cost, I know how it was like pulling teeth to get police vehicle costs and to get your nice new all-in-one utility truck.
Well, and you know, we're still in the planning stages on all of this.
I know.
Sure.
And if you're going to invest that kind of money in a vehicle, then it's worth it to have something to house it in, so it extends the life. And
Are we talking like about the loader?
yeah, no, I'm serious. It's like, you know, I know
$300,000
everybody's
machine. You got some
nickel and
outside.
diming us here, but the fact
Well,
that
look like
we
they paid
have
like $220.
invested a lot of money in equipment here, and to leave it sitting out in all weather, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, most people garage their cars, and God forbid they would never leave them on the driveway during, you know, year round. And why wouldn't we put, you know, $250,000 equipment in a garage?
Well, you know, and that's a good point, you know, when you, I didn't think about, you know, I mean, we thought about putting stuff in, but you know what I mean? You know, you've got all this stuff and does it depreciate? Does it take off a quarter of its life, for example, because it's sitting outside and then now you're buying a loader every whatever, how many years where you could have built you know, a cover, you know, no offense, I don't think we have the capabilities to build the building that Excel showed us, but you know, is there something, you know, in between that you can get some things covered
You
up?
have to think about, you know, if you're gonna take the time to invest in things, you need to try to extend the life of them and leave them sitting outside in Wisconsin winters and, you know, storms and whatnot is not necessarily the way to do it. you know, and that goes for all of our vehicles,
Yeah, there's a lot outside.
you know.
There's a lot of stuff outside.
But they did it for years, and it was no big deal to anybody, you know.
Well,
but-
and sometimes rotating them out sooner, you can get more money back then too. So
Sure.
sometimes you can't extend the life of these and then you get nothing in return. So you have, that's why a lot of municipalities are rotating so much so that they get back the amount, at least sort of amount that they paid into it. So
Gotcha. That makes sense.
just like the cop car, I think you mentioned that too, you know, it should have been moved up. So
But yeah,
There's
the
all
only thing I
factors
was
involved.
getting to is that maybe on that municipal building, okay, so we can't get a DPW garage right away, but maybe, I mean, we talk about an extra garage, but I realize it has to be bigger, but is that something that can be kind of added on to that? You know, I don't know.
depends on when you go back to the drawing board on a garage. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're asking me to, not to drag it conversation on, but then you're asking me to pick one piece of equipment that I would do that with.
Well, I mean,
Loader or the truck.
well,
I
I
mean,
mean, but, or even to, well, I don't know, we could go on, and the fact is, this probably should have been done years ago.
yeah, yeah. We can't look back now and we're moving forward in the right direction
Right,
now.
right.
So that's what's better.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything on other than the 275 you see that you don't want for 26 or should be moved around? Other than now that would leave PD said they're good for 26. Administrative office is looking for a new copier. And then DPW is looking for a couple smaller things to enhance their capability to deliver services to residents. So a couple small items.
Well, think about over the last couple of years, we've had the assessments this year, okay, 60 grand. Because it didn't go last year, we did the police car. It reminds me what was the year before. But we always seem to have we had computers in even last year as well, and that turned out to be we just disengaged from Racine County, went more of a monthly, but we always seem to have like a $60,000 placeholder that the budget can absorb as long as we're getting some interest, you know, so as long as we're in there with, you know, I know you got a trail back in at 40 and some other things, and some of these little things get done anyway. I'm talking about a big thing, you know, I don't see.
I did mention like the equipment trailer to Scott, if for say like the budget for DPW comes under, we could always ask you as a finance committee.
Yeah.
If that'd
That's
be
what I'd like to do.
reasonable to be able to put in a cost since they were under budget this year.
Yeah.
To spend the $5,000 on a trailer.
So it doesn't have to be budgeted for the next year.
Well, and that's sort of.
Take advantage of the no snow.
Yeah, no, and I think there is something to be said for it. I mean, you know, my dad always told me in his budget, in case it was spend it or they wouldn't give it to you the next year. We're not there. We understand you've got a lot of fixed costs, and if you do save some money, just like the police having spots, you know, then okay, we can maybe trade out this in your budget. I have no problem moving a little bit of money around if it makes sense. And then you pick up a tangible asset that you guys need.
Right.
You know,
If it needs to be, if it's needed somewhere else to offset something else, totally understandable. Or if something goes over that you weren't expecting that you needed for, that's fine.
Well, and I'm not trying to spend it, but we're, you know, 299,000 on the good side, thanks to selling people and this being not 145 in the budget, it being now back in our pocket, technically on paper that we would have spent, and it was only 100,000, but it was paid by a donation. So I'm not trying to rush out and do that, but in the era of rising costs and rising labor, if we want to just not find a happy medium to spending some of that on smart stuff that's just going to be nothing but continuing going up in price, we'd be stupid not to just go, oh, we got to hang on to that. You know, I mean, we got to be smart. And if you folks are giving us feedback on what you need and it makes sense, then bring it to us.
Definitely have to justify
I get it.
the purchasing of it. So
I get it. I get it.
So everyone's good with moving the truck back a year,
Yeah.
keeping copier
Yeah.
and the 40, 10
Yeah.
and 5 in there. Everyone's good. Okay. Moving on to roads. Obviously big topic conversation.
And they don't keep going down.
No, but those are estimates.
Those
so,
are estimates, yeah.
and until the bid comes back, that's the number. That's the number you decide, and it's the vote. So, $190,000 to construct Lighthouse Drive next year. Obviously, there's been some talks of dialing that back from doing it from the corner of Lighthouse Drive and the main and 4 Mile to the culvert to save some money and stagger kind of some of these costs. So we're not taking such lump sums. So we can change that if that's something the finance committee has an appetite for. And it would be just kind of a focus on fixing the culvert and doing what the DNR and Scott's been working with on public works side of things, and kind of that's the worst area according to what I've been told after coming in. That's the worst area right here. So
yeah, as we, some people think we're running it. I get that. I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody sees things differently, which is understandable. You had your most water main breaks. Oh, I know. I shouldn't even say that. Damn.
Retract those back.
I know.
The jury didn't hear that.
But
Incidents.
those incidents all the way up to the guardrail, that has been when they were popping almost
Recently,
I know it's not recent. Now you're getting them over.
Yeah, recently it's been like up to Maribor.
Yeah, we had that one at our road.
Mm-hmm.
But with the fact if the golf course thing was long, and the DNR with the culvert, and if it's a bridge, and neighbors who don't have a lot of room and things like that, and trucks on the new roads, which I have no appetite for trucks on our new roads. That's one thing I didn't make to Craig, but if they do anything, I don't want them marching all that equipment down our brand new road.
Yeah, we would plan.
Yeah, please. That will definitely be a deal.
That's a conversation.
No, I know, but then before we go racing around, see how that goes, and then hit this section, because again, the incidence is, there, and then we don't know what the golf course is going to be. He mentioned a path today, on the west side. What's that going to look like? Do you hear him say that?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we just do that next section, and I know it's not a big section, but I think it's an important section for incidents you guys had.
Well, yeah, so technically,
or do we
would do, the water would only be if it goes through, it would be the connection from the curb to the guardrail,
because then that's your
because
newer stuff.
the newer stuff
Correct.
is from the guardrail to the culvert, so we wouldn't have to replace the water on that.
So we would just have
So
to
it's just road and
road,
storm
okay.
improvements, and that's it. So the cost is going to be apparently a lot less because of then yeah. Right.
So another proposal I've kind of mentioned, as some communities do, no water mains odd years. So for instance, we're looking at an odd year for this project. So for instance, we go down in our borrow in our odd year for 27, and we just do a reconstruction from this corner to the culvert and focus on the culvert replacement and not do a water main fix there. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I mean, so far, knock on wood, but so far we have everything's holding in place for the culvert, so I think we can go a little bit longer before and let shoots kind of do their thing.
That's why
and just kind of let it play out how they want it to be done, and then be in the conversations with them for the impact, but worry about it later. It's a conversation that we can have. Obviously, there's no need to rush into doing it next year or the year after, right?
And that's where part of this plan is also, like you guys are saying, slow our roll a little bit, see how this unfolds. We've at least got it on paper. We got a catalog, but I don't know what the two of you think.
You're just planning for it. I mean,
No,
it's the whole intent is liquid. So
yeah,
you're like Travis said, you're just moving it over. You're not saying it doesn't exist anymore. You're just saying right now, not needed. Let's push it off 2-3 years. Let's recoup ourselves for whatever, borrow, or something else comes up.
But I think if you're going to do anything, you got to do water and road up to the guardrail, and maybe that's the project in 2027.
Maybe
it's up to you guys.
Yeah,
because you guys drive the roads, and sorry for dragging you into this, but
we're taking care of some of the smaller
and the smaller roads, exactly, because we can't ignore those either.
Correct.
I was even saying, with the fact we were positive, I mentioned it to Travis in passing, maybe we take some of that money, like you just asked, hey, if I'm 5,000 to good side, can I fit the trailer in this year. You know, if we're 300,000 on the good side, do we knock out a back road or two next year?
Right,
Some
so
of that
right now,
cash.
the lifespan is at 60 years, and, there's been lots of talk about the anticipated life expectancy of it. You don't want to wait until the last day before you start worrying about it, but that's why we're planning. But, with the full intent of knowing that we will have to address some of the smaller roads and the utilities, at 60 years, we're fine. And then maybe we have that intention of not doing a total road reconstruction and wait till the road falls off the map where you need to do that and spend a lot of money to do it. Maybe you attack it when it is a 5 or a 6 and a Paiser rating, and all you have to do is grind off the top, lay a quick one or 2 day project, nice quick hitter, and the people got a brand new road, and that you're going to have to address that in 30 years. But for right now, you deal with the road. And that's how we approach it. Because, we have some lifespan in the water and there's not a need. And with the rate increase and with the utility going in the right direction, we're getting a more positive flow into the water utility, where the water utility will now pay for that kind of stuff instead of us borrowing for it.
So I guess what's your appetite for 27 and do something not a water main project, and you lower that kind of cost down?
Yeah.
So I would recommend maybe you think about a road where you can do maybe a mill and overlay on some
If
a
fairway is
small
approved,
road,
fine. I'm not saying
and do every
I'd be
other.
fine with that. I assume we would be fine. Pick the road though. Pick the road.
And so your even
or
years
two.
are going to be your big borrows, and they're going to be the hefty ones where you're going to have those decisions of water rate increases and all that. Obviously, when you do that, you push the life expectancy of these projects down the road, but at least you can kind of lump your borrows so they're every other year more. And then you're obviously, as a village that's not growing, our best case scenario is to borrow so we have the liquid cash. And because these projects are going to last 40, 50, 60 years down the road, it doesn't make sense to use cash because the borrower will be paying for over that life expectancy of it. So I just don't want the village to continue to throw cash at these projects and not replace it.
Or
And
even
that's the big
vehicles,
thing.
because we've got $1.5 million to
that's-
change, but as we tip upside down in that budget, we're gonna be thankful that previous boards that didn't spend the money on the stuff we're now having to take a look at least put us in the position to be able to burn that off. And before there has to be kind of a referendum or something like that on operations side.
So I would
Again,
say
that's multiple boards down the road, but
for next year's planning purposes for design costs, I think the committee should direct Scott to pick the next best road to do a mill and overlay, not a reconstruction water and storm project in 27.
that's fine. And then maybe in 28, it might only be this small section. Or maybe up to the culvert, and then so it isn't in the big stretches they used to do, because things are like so much cheaper.
Well, not only that, I mean, you can plan for it too. So let's say you do the water on the curve up to the guardrail, but you don't do with the road. You don't deal with the road.
Yeah, that's true too.
And you just patch it back and you deal with it the best you can, as long as it's acceptable, and you work with it for the next 3 years. Yeah. Is it the greatest road in the world? No, but it takes care of the utility side of it, and you'll take care of the water side or the road side of it later. There's lots of ways you can, create this plan.
So I
with
guess
little
here's
pieces.
the deal. You guys are extremely smart people. We trust everything you give to us. Not that we don't question, because we do. So put together what you think is the best list. And
well, I would just say I would like to know for costs for next year, what road are we going to be designing with our engineer? So direct Scott
for
for 27.
cost, yeah.
So 26 next year, we're going to be designing for whatever road for 27. So we're kind of working 2 years ahead of kind of at this part, but
because
we're going to lump that
design on the shelf.
That lump we want to put into the borrow. So we're just not, it just makes sense to put into the borrow. So we're not paying it out of cash. So I would like to know, what road are you comfortable as a committee skipping a year in 27 as an odd year and doing a mill and overlay on a small road that Scott thinks is that fine as, or you want to spend the money and continue doing reconstructions, which way?
Well, the road's pretty pothole-ish over here. I mean, we can you can bring the county out, have them fix it too, you know, in spots, and you could just do the water, you know, when you kick that can down the road and start moving into the interior, that saves some of the heart attacks that are going around, and I don't have to up my blood pressure medicine, so I mean, you know, there's.
Spreads well, you know.
And it does
let-
spread the wealth.
Let the other people know that they're involved in the process too. It's not just about.
Yeah, and we don't have any right now, knock on wood, too many water main breaks on 3 Mile coming up past Prairie. It's,
Yeah, we
it's
just had one.
Maribor and back to the corner
We just
here.
had one at council house.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a dead end.
Yeah, it's still part of
it's
still part
I
of the
get it.
name, so
I
yeah.
get it still.
And I think that it staggers away from, you know, the businesses in Prairie and all the other joint efforts too, instead of we're always concentrating on the main roads. Maybe we scoot out a little bit,
Yeah.
so we're not bombarding them every year with like school and stuff and activities they have to do. And so
So there you go.
I just thought for, you know, the next year
I
or
mean,
so.
are these companies, if we're just doing, you know, like you said, mills and overlays and things like that,
Mhm.
we're not gonna have $190,000
No.
engineering costs. Are we even gonna have engineering costs if they're
No,
just doing the road?
I'm sure there'll
Well,
be.
there'll be a design for the road for the crown, because you know, the
Gotcha.
people bidding on it need to know what they're coming up to.
Sure.
But if you're mill and overlay, you're just replacing in kind.
Okay.
So they'll have an idea with the crown of what you're doing. You just have to show them a design. They have to bid on something. And it's going to be a large project, so they need to bid on it.
So are you guys comfortable next month when we have our next budget meeting, that Scott comes back with a road, and I'll work on the numbers with our engineer company to see what that cost for design will be
Sure.
on a
Yes.
rehabilitation?
Yes.
not
Are
a
you
rehabilitation.
reliant? So just to ask a question for the budgeting purposes, are you more about getting a specific of how much an actual road will cost to design? Bless you. Or are you looking at more of a, hey, we think that this amount of money is appropriate for the design for a budgeting purpose, and we want to get as many roads designed for that amount of money? Because I can put a design on a shelf and we can use in 2 years. It doesn't have to be designed and done the next year.
I don't know. I just think with the amount of turnover and staff and board turnover, I don't know.
Yeah,
I have a
so
little-
that's that is that what you're getting at, to the point of having too many designs?
Well, then you
because-
know how much you're working with.
I
If
look
you
at,
say
like-
50 grand or 60 grand, you know that's what it's gonna be. You're not
I look
surprised
at the
that it's
old
a little
designs
more.
that we've done in the past from like 2010, and those have sat on the shelf since 15 now years ago. I just don't want designs to sit on the shelf and then that they just get dusty like the old ones from years ago, previous boards, just let it sit and no one took action. I just want this board to take action on things and to better off the community. I don't want these designs to sit on the
Well,
shelf.
who knows? There's an election next April. They could. I know I'm gonna go, hey, I don't like that guy. He's spending too much money. And then you're right, nothing gets done. You might get a board that goes right back to the other board to don't do a darn thing. And everybody goes, I'm not gonna be around here in 20 years. I think I'll be alive in 20 years. I don't really care. I want my taxes going $500.
And what if Scott still use? And then that person has a different idea of what road to do. I know the plans
Yeah.
are there, but then things change and costs change. I
I would say find the worst roads that need the least engineering. How's that?
So your next
Is that
for
fair?
26, we'll look at designing a mill and overlay on what road you think needs.
Off the top of my head right now, it'd probably be Fairway or Eldorado.
Do you want to do one
Off
or
the
two?
top of my head, I could,
Take a
but
look at both. Just take a look at both.
fair. Well, they're not the same. So Fairway is 1 block,
Okay.
and Eldorado is 4 blocks, maybe.
Okay. Well, those are good.
So it's a lot
starters.
different of a design. It's a lot more of a cost. There's a lot more involved. Depends on
They
how
have to be
many.
done. They have to be done.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes,
There's no, I mean, it's on your face. There was no doubt.
no doubt.
So I'll get costs
Off
for
the top of my head.
designs on how much they think the designs will be for these two.
Yep.
And then I'll get the costs for mill and overlays for, or whatever Jason calls it something different, but we'll
Yeah,
call it mill and
call it
overlays.
pulverized.
And so
It's not the same.
I'll get those costs, and if you like the both costs as they are, we can do it in 27, both. And if you want to pick one or the other, then you just pick one. So
Gotcha.
those are the two roads we'll look at. We'll push back.
Knowing full well the board knows this is not a 50-year life thing. So you know, it's not. Some people don't like doing it. They call it painted black. Some people don't like doing it because you spend a lot of money, and then 8 years later it reflects through and it looks exactly like it did before. Just so you know that going
But
in.
at least we're keeping the road healthy.
Yeah. I know. I'm a huge proponent of it. I think it's a good thing. Some people aren't. It all depends on who you are.
Well, that's the other side.
Just so you know.
We can let all roads go to heck, like you had Hales Corners. And
Yeah, then
this
there's
village
pitchforks
40
and
years from
stuff.
now, when none of us are here, won't have bargaining capability, and they're gonna belong to Caledonia unless some wealthy benefactor comes in and strokes a 8-figure check, 9-figure check, $100 million. I mean, anybody who thinks I'm full of it, I'm sorry. It's
Cost
not-
effective is to
the
deal
reality
with
is
the
that's what
roads
you're
at
looking at.
6.
You'll start doing stuff right now.
Yeah. Cost effective wise, it's to deal with it when they're at 6 rather than when they're at 3 and 4.
So you're comfortable moving kind of everything down a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the residents will be happy that we move some of it down, and some of those people on those streets that see, and again, we're 300,000 is a good sign. So,
yeah,
this year, so I think everybody'd be happy about that.
And at least, you know, when we talk about the Ellers plan, and as that comes in the August meeting for the board meeting, at least you guys as elected officials know when you come to the capability of being able to borrow, you know those amounts. We are like worst case scenario on all of that. And as a board, you're comfortable to know that make those tax financing decisions when you borrow in future incomes and all that. At least you know when you say, okay, well, this road costs this much, but we're going to borrow, you know, this amount. You can at least get a picture of what that will be on the tax base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least it's worst case scenario, because otherwise you were blind and blind. You didn't know how much maybe the debt was going to impact, you know, a resident down the block. So at least, you know, worst case scenario, now that you're comfortable in making decisions, you know, you can see, and we've hired a firm that we can always use to, you know,
Spreadsheets for us.
evaluate, and we can work with them again and over on what works. But at least, you know, deep down, like these costs, worst case scenario. We have a plan to do water rate increases next year and stormwater rate increases. Otherwise we would have known if we didn't put worst case scenarios in. So, you know, at least we can now, when we come into the budget season for next year, and we can do an ERU rate increase again to help support these projects down the road. So,
okay.
So we'll get those updated numbers.
Allison, Carmen, any problems with that?
No, not at all.
Okay, sounds good. So, and then we'll get a view not only of the biggest things, some of the smaller things, and then we can all go, oh yeah, and then maybe it might be.
Well, then
We're
you
gonna
take,
let these go to heck in a handbasket, and we gotta pay attention out here because we've only got so much money and we've only got so much that people want us to take on as a board. And
Well,
again,
maybe-
next board might go out and good.
you take a break from the grants for the LRIP, and then the next year, since we didn't apply because we didn't do a full road construction, you know, maybe we get it lucky and we get it for a big project again. So,
Yeah.
because obviously it's hard to get it every
We
year.
got it for Lake Bell, and a couple years later.
Yeah, so, you know,
There, so,
we
yeah.
save it for the big projects down the
Yeah,
road, so
that's
we
smart.
can cover. So then we're not doing big projects and then we don't get the grant. So at least we can stay here maybe and get a chance, lucky of
grants
getting
more
it. So
often. Yeah, that's smart. Okay.
same with water, we'll push that back. So obviously then in 27, there'll be no water main projects, but there'll be the water meter replacements and whatever utility improvements need for hydrants and valves.
Mhm.
We'll look at that for 27.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll be liquid enough in the account to maybe start doing some more ads. So,
All right.
any questions on water?
Well, then we all need it.
Any questions on storm?
That goes with it.
So pushing back kind of the culvert to 28, then doing our big projects even years. That's a kind of what we're thinking.
That's smart. That's smart.
Even years big, odd years small.
There you go. Or for some reason you gotta stop.
Yeah. Any questions on kind of what's coming down the project for 26? I think I'm pretty happy with year to date on everything. I don't have any concerns or questions other than the fact obviously we've had a hiccup with the storm, but we're looking to get reimbursed for some of that. But otherwise, I think every department has done a fantastic job on getting grants and donations and things to help their departments at a minimum expense. So I'm happy with every department. So I couldn't. I don't have-
Since we're ahead of them this year, since we're pushing things out, at least on the plan. So like you said, even years, does it make sense to look at sections of these roads this year and get the county out here if they could even, and patch a couple places, I'm just throwing it out. I mean, we have a couple bucks in here for
patching
or whatever. I don't know how much you're doing or not. You've done a great job managing your budget. I have no complaints in it. It's just, would that make sense? I don't know.
Sure. It would to go find some of those spots that have been affected more than others and just do spot repairs all over. Lots of communities do it.
And
Lots
I
of
would
communities.
suggest kind of getting maybe a price from the county or, or whoever. And you increase that budget then for next
It
year.
would just,
figure
it
out
would
kind of how
involve
much.
limits. So I would have to go out and measure how much of the road we would want to excavate and rip out and replace. And then I just give them square footage and then give me a per square foot cost. And that's how much it would be.
So if you want to look at that budget and see if it's, obviously it's going to be more than $5,000. I think that's what's in there now. So if you want to look at that and reevaluate, and the committee can decide if that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
All right. Thank you.
On the 15th, next Friday already, the village will be having a little staff retreat next Friday at the lighthouse. I'll be leading it, and we'll be doing a little staff retreat on like intergovernmental work together and department interactions and missions and values and stuff. So some of that will be incorporated in the budget. So I'm looking forward to leading that with the staff, and they're very excited. So just an update on that kind of as we move forward. But I'm excited to see kind of, we'll have breakout groups and kind of working together as a team. So I'm excited to see that come together. So, but that's all I got for 26 budget, 24 actuals, and 25 year to date. Otherwise, if you have any questions, let me know.
All right. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. No problem. I can still announce the next thing. We'll just leave it for you to come back. Review and possibly take action on capital asset policy, which you've actually shown us before.
I don't think so. No. This
I've
is
seen this page.
I sent it to you from because our auditors had said that this was one of the things we didn't have. So otherwise everything after that will be fixed after we adopt this. We've kind of fixed all the little loose ends of things. So this is kind of the big thing we need to add. The things highlighted in yellow are changeable. I think they're fine just the way they are now, unless you see something.
They look pretty standard, yeah.
So
it's really nice to have an auditor. I think what it costing us an extra $2-3 grand in the last one, but so much more professional than
amazing.
the last ones, helping us even with stuff like this, just like having our zoning,
they are great. They've been really big on helping us with PSC rate case, digging stuff up from the past. Hawkins has been cooperative, even though they bill us for the help with the auditors, but they've been really great on helping throughout with Scott, me, and Monica as well. I mean, they just are so hands-on.
Do they bill you for that stuff?
The old does one because they're requesting stuff from the previous, but no, they don't, unless it's going to cost them something,
a lot of extra hours
or time to do something. Yeah, then they'll let us know.
Consider it part of the contract.
Yeah, they'll let us know
That's
beforehand.
nice. That's
So,
nice.
yeah.
Boy, I mean, the gal was a real nice lady. They sat down, but that drove me crazy when she was like, and then you had this one transaction, and oh my God.
Yeah.
We're not there. We have so many more big needs.
And I know Scott's big project in the winter is going to be fixing kind of the water utility of inventory and keeping that report up to date. And he'll be working with Dan.
And I don't think everybody, and that's why I was joking, but I'm serious. We've had a day in the life of Chief. We need a day in the life of you, because people just think you guys mow grass, plow, and do the other stuff.
And play cards.
They have no flipping clue.
It's sad.
They have no flipping clue how many different ways you're being pulled. And no offense to the people that came before you, they didn't know. Excuse me, guys. They didn't know what they didn't know, but you guys know what we were missing. You're getting emails, you're addressing them. I mean, there's so much compliance I'm finding out that you have to deal with that wasn't dealt with, all of you. And that means we then occasionally have to spend money on that stuff. And people don't like it because they want it to stay the same and blah, blah, blah. And steps to never change for 800 years and, blah, blah, blah. The reality of it is, when you guys do this, it means we have two choices. We attack it and taxes are going to go up, sadly, or we ignore it and then we're not in compliance. And someday we're going to lose you all as a village. And if this stuff doesn't get addressed, doesn't have a roadmap, we're up creek. So
I do say that there's only so many hours in the day.
No, you're right.
But I'm looking forward to 26. I think 26 is going to be
I still think, I'm gonna
big
apply
year.
volunteer next year, to teach me to be an intern, to mow your grass in the big areas. I'm serious.
Well,
I will
it helped
gladly
out
take
that we
off.
got a summer help
But I
kid
will-
that does that we don't have to.
But
do
I'll
it
seriously,
anymore.
I'll volunteer, throw a hat on some SPF and I'll mow. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to or whatever, but I'll do it. So, anyway. All right, capital asset policy. Travis, can you,
Yeah.
Else was out of the room. We just announced it as always.
So we put this together about recommendations from our auditor. That was one of the things that they recommended we have because we didn't have it. So they said here, have this. And so we've kind of tweaked it to be our own. And that's kind of it. The things in yellow I mentioned to the committee was things that can be changed that I put in the numbers that I thought was acceptable based on our CIP. So I don't think those should change. I think they're fine the way they are. But yeah.
If you've checked with all the people that do this professionally every day, and I agree with the dates, I've looked at those too, I'll make a motion that we approve the Village of Wind Point capital asset policy as displayed on page 290 of 297 in our packet.
290.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
So now this will go to the board, but it'll be part of now the budget process. So you know how all those policies are now on the back of that kind of book. So there'll be a statement kind of outlining that. So
all right. Discuss / review and possibly take action on the quote for Hunt Club Road. Okay. Our esteemed resident knows more about all the private roads we have, but help us out here with what you guys ran into.
Back in April, we had some residents that thought they were part of the public or the private side. After reviewing with Eric and Eric investigating everything that he found and had files of and going down to Racine County and taking all the files, he said there were a group of individuals who are not part of the private side and they are all public. And they are all mad because they have been paying into the private stuff that they thought they were private. So they said, why are we paying now for the public side that you have neglected for so long? And there was throes of lawsuits and because of neglect and all that. And Eric had stated, the attorney said that we don't owe them anything back. Obviously, sorry feelings other than that, but they have had such bad outcomes for decades, I guess. And this has been a reoccurring issue, I've been told, and Scott has been told. And so they went ahead and did the road. So because their sports cars were not able to get down to the road and that they couldn't take them out for the summer, and they were very irritated that they couldn't access their road. And so when it flooded and rained, there was potholes all over and it was a mess. So our portion of the road, there's a new quote with you guys that outlines kind of our portion that we own that we've neglected.
11,500.
They stopped when they did the road years ago. They stopped before it actually should have been. So when they did the road, it stopped way before it should have, and they should have gone all the way up to the private side, and they didn't. So they stopped way back, and then they didn't finish the rest. So,
Which actually, to add to that, which actually led us to believe that the private road started where they stopped the seal coat.
So whoever did back in the day that road,
They thought the same thing.
they didn't do a little bit of research with the lawyer, talked about with the residents. So we've had a lot of dialogue with Eric and everyone on this. So
to the public comment, I mean, they paid for it. It sounds like they upgraded it because of John's disposal and you mentioning, hey, did they upgrade it?
yes, they did. They put 3.5.
They did not upgrade it.
They did upgrade it.
They
It's
did
more than what they did.
They put more material down, yes.
More material down, but not enough was the recommendation of you. Okay. And go ahead, Elsie.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand. So the red part on here is the private part.
Correct.
Okay, and everything else is public.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one I kept hearing that, well, we have to go on the private part to get to the public part when plowing.
Oh, no, that's Wind Point Road.
Yeah, so that actually changed. So that's that's where the slurry coat stopped, where the old regime stopped the slurry coat and where we thought the private road started, but it actually starts up here. So this portion from here to here is what turned
But-
out to be after public.
Allison was making a point that there was, remember that contract we did approve because you had to get to the access and then it was private, then public, then private. or-
Oh, yeah.
That,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was another private
I
section.
don't even understand why we have public and private roads.
Yeah.
So
It
the
was-
one part in, where I can see where the dot is on here. So, on the right-hand side, that was public, but they were taking care of it.
It was, yeah, they thought it was private. So that's a
Okay.
portion of
Okay.
Yeah.
So what they're
That's-
looking for, how much money from us then?
the 12,579.
Cause they paved,
12,000? Oh, yeah,
they
that's what I was
repaved
hearing,
up
gotcha.
to the seal coat line, which incorporated,
The
what-
neglected part that we
yeah,
thought
which we
was
found out is the
our
public.
responsibility.
Correct.
Okay, so can I?
Go ahead.
may I Ask a question?
You sure can.
From this point forward, I mean, what is the I have no problem paying the $12,000, but what all are the ramifications of this? Do we plow this? Do we do anything else to the
Well,
road?
yeah, we will.
Well, to the new part, the new,
Public, we will.
but we don't
yes.
do anything beyond the private.
We
side.
don't,
Once it hits private, we stop.
correct.
Okay.
No different than we did before. We're just extending it another 250 feet of what
Okay.
we're responsible for.
Okay.
So
Just
there
because it was neglected from,
It was.
So, and I'm not trying to say you guys did anything wrong. I mean, things unfold, people come to you, and please don't. I'm about to say, is this the first we're hearing of it? So it didn't get to us earlier. I mean, I'm inclined to not upset those residents and to say, hey, but so we don't see this happen again to resident / trustee Manning's thing. Have we talked to the attorney about, do we just sell it back to them for $1 going forward? If we bail them out now,
I think going
so what?
forward, I think that'd be like an internal policy to know, when private road issues come across, to
Like-
submit a plan
yeah.
and to submit then,
Yeah,
what
how
you
many
want
of
to do.
these HOAs are there? Do you even know?
A lot.
Do you know?
We have way too many.
Sorry?
Yeah,
Roads like that with meadows.
Yeah.
every single
Yeah, well,
condo.
yeah, because we paid a couple
So,
$100 for
I
the seal
asked-
coating
Correct.
portion of the one because that was so small and I didn't need people calling up my backside over $400.
I asked,
I would have paid it out of my pocket.
how we could take over that part of the private road so it wasn't private anymore. Eric said everybody would have had to agree because you have to make it village minimum requirements, and then you would have expanded the right of way. And I all said no, they don't want to be included in the public side. And I said, well, I'm taking this $45,000 off your back for every resident, and they don't want to form an HOA. And so they're gonna just every so many years they're gonna come into this problem. So I gave them all the advice that they wanted to be able to make this easier and give it to us instead. So they didn't have to deal with it and all these headaches, but
But they still
they
wanted
said
the road.
they still want it private. So
So just generalizing it though, too, it does affect like how we do business. So Travis negotiates a garbage contract for the village, which services these private roads, and they're not at the table, so we can't control what they do and how they do it because it's a private road, which makes it very muddies the waters a lot. I was told I called the route manager and they said it in their contract. It says if the roads are not designed as municipal roads are designed to accept 55,000-pound garbage trucks, they can refuse service.
and I think if we go moving forward, if we have like
Yeah. we
something
have
informal or
conversation.
like formally and that's adopted by like village staff that works with like, the admin and finance and then DPW to make sure like when private roads are being updated, you have to pull some permit or
I
some.
would agree. I
something
think that,
Right.
I think a red
We gotta
flag
know.
needs to go up.
Yeah.
We didn't know they were doing
No, that's
anything
fine.
until
So
we
we-
got a digger's hotline ticket 3 days before
Oh,
it
really?
happened.
So
Yes.
we can live and learn maybe with this one.
Yeah.
I know that. may
But they're not
make somebody
obligated,
happy.
for right now, they're not obligated to really tell us anything.
That's true too.
It's a private road. We have no control really over anything.
Until they found out with, how to.
Because this incorporated some
Of the
public,
public part.
that's why we got involved. Otherwise,
We just want to see the designs and
would've-
that it makes.
hands off. There's nothing we could have done.
So it really doesn't, I mean, the private side doesn't really include us. It's just a scenario of that we've neglected the public side that was thought to be private. But
Right.
I do think moving forward, either Public Works should review as a committee, maybe the like when private roads get updated to make sure that everything's compliant
I would agree.
and
With
know,
things
and
like-
Caledonia knows
Talked about.
going down. So I think
Well,
we can create some simple permit process that
Yeah.
outlines, here's what you got to do to pull if you're going to be updating your private drive.
and
Obviously,
I-
we don't want to break the bank because it is their private driveway. We don't want to dictate everything,
Well,
because it is theirs.
We do have, you guys did all adopt a month or two ago, the minimum standards for everything in the village.
Public.
But why shouldn't that be incorporated with the private
Right,
too,
private roads.
considering the services that are being given to
So,
those areas are still under those guidelines also?
Think about it, a fire truck.
So North Bay currently is going through the
Exactly.
same problems right now with their private drives. And the requests from the village and their attorney in regards to those private drives and how slim they are. They're one car, no curb, they're private drives. And Caledonia Fire Department has already recommended, because they provide fire service to the village of North Bay, residents to cut back their foliage and their trees
Yeah.
because they can't fit their fire trucks in there. I've been to that end of Hunt Club several times over the past 8 years working here. One for a very serious call where we could not fit all of us there, from ambulances to the fire truck to the police cars. So I just to kind of give you some insight that North Bay is having some issues right now with their private drives and the communication with those residents, and then the attorney's office, and trying to come to some sort of resolution, because obviously we're providing a service.
Right.
And if it's unsafe for
Well-
somebody to provide a service,
and then they'll be the first ones to complain if you don't get there,
Right.
whatever it would be. Well, you're not gonna be. all of a sudden
If
you're
you
not
want a
gonna treat it
private
like
road,
ours.
that's fine,
Right.
but the road should be of the same standard as a public road
Right.
I think we should
with the width and,
take over all private roads and make them.
exactly. Well, there's the other option, but yes,
Do we have to pay them for those roads?
I don't know. I can reach out to
Or we
Eric.
Say, hey, we can take this.
I think you could have.
Find out.
What do you call it?
Find out.
Domain or something?
yeah, it's like eminent
What?
domain.
Yeah, you might have.
Yeah,
to do
so
that.
I think we can look at taking over all these, because then we don't have to worry about these issues. I mean, because down the road, if someone goes, well, I didn't know about that 5 years ago. Why do they do this? Well, we don't know what they thought
Right.
10 years ago.
Well, find out how many of there
Or
are.
sale of a
I don't know how
house.
many they are, because 12,000 is cheaper than taking on, let's say, 10 of these, and now we have to add those to our CIP.
Well,
But that's part of it too, but
All right.
I mean, this did rear a lot of questions.
Well, we learned from them.
Yeah.
Sure, the guy with my shoulders could be happy, but I'm gonna make a motion to approve and send to the village board our portion of the public road at the Hunt Club HOA for $12,579.50. All in favor? All right. All right. Review and possibly take action on 4 Mile Road after submits for reconstruction. This is all, I know. So people have asked, hey, if we just do this and we don't widen it, is the board aware that it's cheaper?
Yes.
Right? You know that? You know that? You've seen this before? These before? Or Travis handed these out to us?
they've been.
Oh,
I know if you add.
Meaning if you add width?
Surface, it's gonna cost more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, we know that. Just want to make sure we know that. Okay, that's the whole point of this being added. Okay, good. All right, proceed. The board approved 11 wide and so 4, 11, 11, 4. That's 4 right. So, and I've had, and I go pick and save a lot because I have no life. So I go to see you guys and I can
This
tell
is your
you
life.
how many people I pull around or just dead stop. And I actually asked my stepson this morning because he's driving. I said, hey, did you ever have anywhere have this meeting? I'm like, hey, do you have to go out? He goes, no, I just stop. I said, we don't go around. He goes, no, I wait for the other car. And then I go around. I said, so that's good. I said, would it make sense for it to be wider? He goes, oh yeah. I go, you know, this is gonna cost more money. He goes, yeah, but it's safer. So that's a 17-year-old.
We had a resident come in yesterday, the husband and wife off of James Avenue, and they were so excited about the road project and adding that. They said that they're walkers and so are their neighbors and they're so excited. He wanted to be here today, but he's got other obligations. And they came in also because they love the e-news and what the updates and everything moving forward, because he's like, it only brings more property value to my home when all these investments get made in the village. He goes, when I turn around and sell the home, I can't wait because I know all these investments that you're doing as a village, it's gonna impact me in the long run. So he's like, I'm so happy. I just wanted to let you know that he came in and stopped by.
We had
So
a few bike riders in Wood Meadows that drive, and they like the idea. of having the- on 4 Mile Road. And it's also safer.
it is.
Safer.
All right. So
So
really nothing to take action on.
I would, so you would take action as it is as on the agenda. So if you're voting for it, you would vote to take the action
What we
as,
already approved at a village board meeting.
or
to
I would
continue.
let the motion fail. Because you're on the agenda, it says review and possibly take action on 4 Mile Road estimates for reconstruction. So if you let the agenda item fail, I wouldn't move it to the board then.
I'm just gonna let it fail, in my opinion. That's my consensus.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
What's,
They've seen this.
What is a motion that we want to make to have it fail?
To sort of remind people that building a wider road is gonna cost more money than if we didn't build a wider road. And some of the things that go with the road.
So I guess you could phrase it as make the motion, someone motions and seconds that take action moving forward with the as is option, and then everyone would vote no. So the motion
board
is-
already gave a couple approvals on the design at 411-4, at least two, to my recollection, okay? So why would we address the as
Look,
is?
Because it's on the agenda.
Well, no, all it says is 4 Mile Road estimates for reconstruction. It doesn't specifically call out that one.
Review and possibly take action.
It's up to you on how you want to phrase it. I just figured as for purposes
I'm gonna
of,
make a motion that the village board. But it doesn't get to the board. We've already approved it twice in the engineering side of it.
so you could make the motion to make it like, I guess you're not taking any action on it.
I'm gonna make
As
a
village
motion to take
boards-
No action on this, as it's already in the CIP, the way we've got it. And the CIP is being updated monthly.
And the bid will be adopted too when you take on that cost.
I'm making a motion. Right?
To not take action.
I'm not taking action. You got a second? All right, Carmen's got a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Review and possibly take action, a snow removal contract with North Bay. My first question is, do you have the capacity?
Depending on their requirements and their expectations,
Okay.
possibly, but I don't know what their expectations.
Everything I've just heard from the chief, and, the discussion with Allison and on the narrower roads over there and the down there act together.
Private roads, we wouldn't have to.
Right, I get that, okay. But I just don't know if I wanna, it's fine, the police, they're not plowing streets, they're buzzing over there, they're going, no problem. Cause you're gonna get so many calls from somebody who goes, my road's not plowed, but I see them over there. Oh, and I heard you guys took it on.
Right.
We don't need the little bit of money that bad. We don't need to
Well,
stretch you any thinner.
I agree.
Right.
Go ahead.
So my only question, I had this with Travis already, and I said, there is no advantage. There's all the advantage for North Bay.
Correct.
There's no advantage for
There
Red
is
Point.
none. You're right.
So unless we would create a revenue that would be an advantage for Wind
Yeah.
Point,
Yeah.
then we could do it. But Travis said that is illegal and we can't do that.
Yeah.
So we would have to do it for exactly what we earned for that. And there is no benefit to that because we're just taking away from other
sources,
stuff
yeah.
that we
Yeah.
can do to go do that and to the.
So
to
what
that
happens
point.
in the day where one of you gets injured and we have one person to plow?
Well,
and
I
we're
was just
required to
this
plow
last
over
year. Scott, or you were
there? That's
gone.
just.
You were
that's a
just, you were
non-starter.
gone. Scott was gone last winter. And
Yeah.
John was the only
Yeah.
one. So
No.
I
Okay.
think
I'm gonna make a motion.
Yeah, they called me up and they they had it on their agenda to approve us to go do it. And I'm like, we didn't even talk
I'm
about
gonna
it.
make a
so
motion that we
that's weird.
do not enter into a snow removal contract with North Bay.
I will second that.
That was quick second. We wanted that second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? All right, 3-0 on that. All right, last but not least, discussion on intern for fall, spring 2025.
So Jay, who did our PD study, reached out,
Yeah.
as he's the interim for Beaver Dam right now, as they're looking for an administrator. He was having, breakfast and, he ran into this sophomore from Carthage, down in Kenosha, and, she's a econ major. She's looking at the local government avenue, and so he connected me with her, and, she's looking to do something in, fall and spring, to shadow kind of my role. And then I said, we can go around with the PD, you can go around with DPW, we can send you with Hannah and Monica. And you'll learn kind of everything around, and we can have you touch base with Eric, our zoning administrator, kind of touch base with Caledonia, see if there's anything. But I think it would be a good opportunity. Obviously, I told her there's no funding available to get paid for this year, but WCMA, Wisconsin City Managers Association, does have a program that offers it. They're all out this year for the first time ever of money to allocate for internships. So in the spring, she'll be likely, if she comes back during February, March, when the classes resume, she can probably get something paid that will be reimbursed from WCMA. But I think it would be a great opportunity for a younger person to come in, and it's an exciting time for the village. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's a possibility coming down the road. So if you have any concerns.
I have zero concerns, as long as you feel the person's a quality person. The more people that could contribute or help, and she learns at the same time, I think it's nothing but a win-win for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I got on that. Obviously, okay. I'll have her put together a cover letter and resume, and I'll give it to you guys, but there wouldn't be really no action that would be needed other than just saying, yeah, that we approve kind of to move forward with an intern for the year, because she's not getting paid, so there's no finance. I'll bring it back. I told her to think about. I'll bring it back because I just wanted to let you know, to get the feedback if that was fine. So I just wanted to let you know that, and she'll come back with some more information once she's got her schedule and stuff in August, and we'll do a tour and kind of walk her around and see if she's interested. So
okay, all right, thanks. All right, referrals. I would say contracts with I mean, obviously, we're not there to signing the contracts, but with
can I run it through for you and make sure I got everything? If you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey,
no, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, he's good at taking notes.
Oh, yeah, he's great at taking notes.
So I just wanted to make sure I got clarity on that for now. Action 5 for the lighthouse parking. You want to wait till the legal document comes before coming to the board, and do you want it to come back?
We can go to the full board, hash it out the full board, subject to like my motion said.
Okay, that's fine.
Separate the legal documents.
So action 5 will go to the full board. I'll work on. I don't think it'll be enough time for August's board meeting to do another kind of review with the full board on the study. I think September will be a little easy. Yeah,
that's fine.
I just because we'll have Ellers and Dell coming in, and then we'll have Greg come back. So we'll hold off on that going to the board. And then the RFPs, the action will be the 21st, Thursday, the 21st. Reminder from 11 to 3. Lunch will be ordered. I'll put the agenda out and copy you out.
Thank you.
No action was taken on budget stuff other than kind of some handshakes or hand nods, and capital asset policy will go to the board. Hunt Club Road will go to the board. No, nothing on 4 Mile and nothing on the snow, and that's it.
There you go. That's what I had.
All right.
All right. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Carmen got the second. All in favor?
All right.
All right.
All right.
12:58. Wow.
I like everybody.